This is HRRN, horse racing's voice.
And a Fleet Alex comes away with the lead at the 8th pole and kicking in impressively. A Fleet Alex bursting away to lead by 2.5 lengths. Winning Expression is second. Flamenco on the outside third. Then Lunar Pals drop back and they're coming down to the line. And a Fleet Alex very impressive in the Sanford.
And here she comes. And she has bursted to the lead as they move into the final furlong. Outstanding is chasing her home. It's only Acting Dad and Consumer Credit, but they're all not going to get the undefeated Lady Eli. She crushed them. Lady Eli did it again.
Welcome to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires.
Less than a furlong to go, and Looking at Lucky has power to the lead. Looking at Lucky by 2 to the inside, racing in second. The Sky is the limit, and St. Maximus Gatto. It's Looking at Lucky to win the 16th running of the Indiana Derby.
McCormick is still right there. Impressive Edges there too. They all line up. Petrov is there, and Hence from last is closing down the center. Silver Dust, and here comes Hence to the outside, and Hence and Mike Smith go on to win the Iowa Derby.
Now here's Mike Penna.
Good morning once again, everyone, and welcome to the Equine Forum presented by TwinSpires here on HRRN. Happy 4th of July weekend. Mike Penna, Baron of the Backstretch, with you on the show that launched a network, and all right here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. Thrilled to have you in the saddle with me for the next 3 hours on Sirius 162, XM 207, our affiliates in Lexington, Louisville, and across the country, streaming worldwide and podcast on our website, horseracingradio.net, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Pretty good weekend of racing, huh? It has been a pretty good couple of days with the 4th of July Racing Festival at Saratoga, and that continues later today with 3 more stakes races, each of those graded. You have the Grade 3 Sanford, the Grade 3 Kelso, and the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks Invitational. The red-hot Jose Ortiz, who is coming off of his second Churchill Downs riding title, is well-mounted in those races today. You're going to hear from him later in the program. Pretty good day at Horseshoe Indianapolis, too. 8 stakes races, including the Grade 3 Indiana Oaks and the Indiana Derby. Bill Morey is the trainer of 12-1 Morning Line long shot Brother Kenny in that Indiana Derby, and you'll hear from him at 8:15 Eastern. Eric Halstrom is the GM and Vice President of Racing. He will join me at 9:40. At Prairie Meadows, the Iowa Oaks, the Iowa Derby. You got the Grade 3 Cornhusker. That's a good one. And then at Ellis Park, racing is now underway for their 2025 meet. Baley Hare is the newly named racing secretary. He'll join me later in this first hour as well. So all kinds of things to get to, including a very special visit with Hall of Fame trainer Todd Pletcher. It's always special when Todd takes time to join me here on the program. He's been doing it for many, many years. But today, maybe even a little bit more so, because of the fact that he will remember his mentor, his longtime friend, D. Lukas, whom we lost a week ago. Wayne, of course, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1999. He ranks 6th all-time in earnings with more than $300 million plus to his credit. 4,953 career victories. That's 9th on the all-time wins list. He saddled the winners of 15 Triple Crown races, 20 Breeders' Cup races. That's a remarkable number. And Todd Pletcher spent many years learning from Wayne before he went out on his own, and I think he learned quite well. You had Todd Pletcher, you had Dallas Stewart, Kieran McLaughlin, Mike Maker, George Weaver, all coming from that D. Wayne Lukas training tree. And I'm going to ask Todd, I remember when Todd joined me some time ago, it was maybe 6 or 7 or 8 years ago, when he joined me for the very first time on our weekly Trainer Talk program. And he mentioned something that Wayne had said, or maybe I went back and referenced it with Todd. It went something like this, where Wayne had said, they were all going to be good without me, referring to Kieran and Dallas and Mike Maker and George Weaver and Todd. He said they were all going to be good without me. I'm going to ask Todd if he believes that's true. Because I believe that Wayne Lukas had a direct impact on the success of each of those gentlemen that I just mentioned? Does Todd really believe that, listen, Todd Pletcher was going to be good. He was going to be a good trainer. Would he have been as good without going to the University of D. Wayne Lukas? That's one of the questions I'll bring up with him. I'm sure Todd will have plenty of stories to tell about Wayne. Certainly a personal loss for him, but a huge loss for the entire industry. Last week, if you missed it, I spent time with Dale Romans and Tim Wilkin at the end of the show during I Ask, They Answer, looking back on Wayne's career. And I asked Todd and I asked Dale and I asked him, if you were to pick a Mount Rushmore of D. Wayne Lukas horses, which horses are going to make that mountain? Who are you going to put up there? I'm going to bring that same question up with Todd later, too. Let's see what he has to say about that. So you'll hear from Todd Pletcher. We caught up yesterday. Obviously, Saturday morning is very busy for Todd, so we tried to record that on Friday. So we talked yesterday. And we also talked about Mindframe and that big win in the Stephen Foster last weekend over defending Breeders' Cup Classic champion Sierra Leone, who once again came running late but comes up short. But we now know Sierra Leone is a horse that you can't take lightly. He's going to be in the mix. Just doesn't get up and win very often, but he did do it on the biggest stage last fall. So I'll talk to Todd about Mindframe, his thoughts on that performance. People are saying Mindframe is now undoubtedly the best older horse in the country. Hard to argue with that. But he does have his stablemate fierceness out there, and I was a believer in Locked. Still think Locked is going to win a couple more big races down the road. But I would have liked to have seen him get it done yesterday in the Suburban. And, of course, he comes up short in that one, ends up finishing third. Todd almost won it with Antiquarian, though, who ends up finishing second in that race. Kind of a bizarro world, too, isn't it, that we're living in? Here's Todd Pletcher, who we're so accustomed to seeing run horses in the Kentucky Derby and along the road to the Derby and these big prep races and throughout the Triple Crown, having these good youngsters in his barn. And after doing that for, 21 consecutive years, having a starter in the Kentucky Derby, that streak came to an end this year. But on the flip side of that, here's Todd loaded with top-notch older horses. Somewhat of a bizarro world that we're living in here in 2025. So Todd comes up at right around 9 o'clock Eastern, so stay tuned for that. And I mentioned Jose Ortiz set to join me at 9:20. Jose had an outstanding week, posting 16 wins from 40 mounts. And he earned his second leading rider title at Churchill Downs with 63 victories. He's going to look back on that meet and on that week. And I'll ask him, do jockeys get into a zone where they just see things more clearly? The race slows down. Even for a guy like Jose Ortiz, a multiple champion jockey, I'm sure there are times when he'd like to have some races back, just like any athlete. Just didn't bring your A game or things didn't unfold the way you wanted them to unfold. So when you get into a streak like he had last week where he wins 16 of 40, what does that feel like for a jockey? Do you feel like you're invincible? I would imagine you have to. I'll ask him that at 9:20. And he kept it rolling over the first 2 days of Saratoga's 4th of July Racing Festival. 3 wins, including the Wild Applause Stakes aboard Classic Q on Thursday. So here's the full lineup for you. You have Bill Morey coming up in just a few minutes, 8:15 Eastern. Baley Hare, the new racing secretary at Ellis Park, will join me at 8:35. 9 o'clock Eastern, down the road to the Breeders' Cup with a man who has won, 14 Breeders' Cup races, Todd Pletcher. You'll hear from him at 9 o'clock. 9:20, jockey Jose Ortiz, live from Saratoga. Eric Halstrom, the GM and Vice President of Racing at Horseshoe Indy, will join me at 9:40. 10 o'clock Eastern, the TwinSpires Triple Play with James Scully. 3 races for you to watch and wager with at TwinSpires this afternoon. And Kurt Becker's Stroll Through Racing History at 10:20, a great remembrance of the coach D. Wayne Lukas. Stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for I Ask, They Answer at 10:30 Eastern. Dale, Tim, both with me to tackle some of the hottest topics, and it is the morning where we are walking through the draft for our Showdown 4 competition. We do it every year. This is the 4th time, obviously, Showdown IV. Dale took the last 2. Tim took the first one. I'm still looking to get on the board. These guys are pretty good. We'll see if Dale can pull off the Triple Crown and win 3 in a row, but that draft comes up later in the program as well. Time now to check in with our producer, Lee Delapina, for this week's Impossible Trivia question. Lee?
Thank you, Mike. Here's a simple one for you. Not easy, simple. What horse was Pat Day riding when he became the 6th jockey in history to win $100 million? What horse was he riding? No Googling. We'll give out the answer at the end of the show.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I'm sitting here thinking right now, and I can't come up with it off the top of my head. No Googling. The answer comes your way. 10:55 Eastern, end of the program. Stay tuned for that really tough question for you here this morning. All right, Bill Morey in the on-deck circle. We'll talk to him coming up next. This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN, horse racing's voice.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Live racing for the 25-day Ellis Park meeting begins Thursday, July 3rd and runs through Saturday, August 24th, with a record $4 million in stakes purses led by 7 stakes across Kentucky Downs Preview Weekend on August 2nd and 3rd, and 6 stakes on Sunday, August 10th, featuring the $300,000 Ellis Park Derby and the $200,000 Groupie Doll. Connections with Kentucky-bred horses will be competing for $100,000 maiden special weight purses and allowances up to $108,000, and horse players will have plenty of action throughout the summer. For a full list of events, visit EllisParkOwensboroGaming.com.
Scott Mallory is offering a trio of exciting prospects at the Fasig-Tipton July sale of selected yearlings on July 8th. Hip 11 out of a young Blame mare by freshman sire Mo Donegal, a son of super sire Uncle Mo. Hip 55 out of a winner-producing Animal Kingdom mare by Grade 1 winning freshman sire Drain the Clock, whose weanlings averaged 5 times the stud fee. And Hip 89 out of a multiple stakes winning mare by exciting multiple Grade 1 winning freshman sire Cyberknife, who set a new track record in the Haskell. Visit the Scott Mallory consignment in Barn 8 at Fasig-Tipton, July.
Tenda Equine and Pet Care products have been keeping world-class equine athletes happy and healthy for generations. Keep your equine athlete looking and performing well with Tenda Next Generation Wound and Skin Care Treatment, along with nutritional supplements, leg and muscle care products, salves, hoof care, poultice, topical aids, and grooming products. Visit tendahorse.com today.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Brother Kenny is gearing up. Brother Kenny coming with a 4-wide sweep, and Militant is spying a gap. The book is last. Top of the lane, 3/4, 1 at 12.18 seconds. It's a toss-up. Here's Brother Kenny with toward the inside Lear. Militant tries to come through in a tight spot at the rail. Dropping back Transcendental and Rebellious as they come inside the final 16th with Joe Ramos. It's Brother Kenny, and the brothers pouring it on. Brother Kenny. Brother Kenny gets the result by 3. Rebellious was second, and then Militant and Lear.
Welcome back to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires. Mike Penna, Baron of the Backstretch, welcoming you to the program and saying happy 4th of July weekend. I hope you had a safe 4th, and I hope it continues later today and into the entire weekend. That was John G. Dooley with the call Brother Kenny getting a victory in an allowance race last time out at Horseshoe Indianapolis. He is a perfect 2 for 2 over the oval, and today he gets his biggest test in the Grade 3 Indiana Derby. And Bill Morey, his trainer, is hoping that he will pass that test with flying colors. He joins us now here on HRRN. Bill, good morning.
Good morning.
Brother Kenny, very talented, stepping up in class big time today. What have you been seeing from him?
Well, he's actually really taken to the dirt and the distance here and the local surface here at Horseshoe Indy, so we're taking a big chance today.
Yeah, the surface thing, I'm sure, is the reason that led you to take this shot. But what have you seen from him since getting him to Horseshoe Indy? This may be a little bit different than what you were seeing from him prior to this in his starts at Turfway.
I think probably the biggest thing was we cut him. We actually gelded him. That would be 3 starts ago. And I think that's what's really turned him around. Just timing of that, timing of getting him back onto the dirt and getting him to stretch out here to longer distances. It's all just kind of added up for us.
Now, the ultimate equipment changes, they like to say, right?
Yes, sir.
So what does that do for a horse? What would lead a trainer to say, okay, this horse needs to be gelded?
You know, he was never really like what I'd call a bad colt or a dangerous colt, but he just seemed to lose a little bit of focus, and we tried him numerous times as a colt, and he just didn't seem quite as focused as we wanted. So we tried it, and it's worked out well so far.
Yeah. Do you attribute the success that he's had more to, and maybe it's a combination of everything, more to being gelded or to getting to a dirt racing surface as opposed to synthetic like he was racing on at Turfway, or is it more the stretch out and distance?
I think it just kind of everything came around for him. I think it was triggered by making him a gelding, but I think it just all added up, timing, maturity, just getting better. And he's always been a real kind of long striding horse, so always thought the longer the better too.
His jockey, Joe Ramos, seems to fit him pretty well.
Yeah, he fits him super good. We've left it in his hands both times here, and he's done the super job for us. He's riding great. He's a good kid, and he's riding very well here.
More impressive win, his maiden win 2 starts ago or that allowance win last time out?
I like the win last time, because he actually got back a little further than we expected, but he overcame that and won pretty easily, so we were happy with that.
The 3-year-old gelded son of Motown, Brother Kenny, 12-1 on the morning line. Bill, it's like they say, horses, they can't read the tote board, right? He has no idea.
Yeah, he can't read the form. I'm glad he can't because it's a super tough race. We'll go in swinging. It's always a good race. I think it came up super tough this year, actually. But, we're here. He's doing good. Like you said, he likes this track. Why not take a chance? The owners flew in town for it, and we're just going to enjoy it and take our best shot here.
Coal Battle is going to be among the favorites, if not the favorite, for trainer Lonnie Briley. He was a fantastic story throughout the road to the Kentucky Derby and then throughout Derby week. Size up the competition for me. You talked about the salty race. Coal Battle, some of the other horses you're going to have to contend with. Talk about them.
Yeah, these were horses that we were, of course, hoping not to face here. But when they put up 300,000, you can't expect it to come up easy. I think Pletcher's horse coming in from New York, Coal Battle. These are serious horses. But, again, maybe we have a little home court advantage. We're hoping that plays our way. And, as they say, it's a horse race, so we're taking our best shot and going to find out if he belongs with these kind of horses. They're serious horses for sure.
And I was going to bring that up, too. You really don't know what you have until you take this shot, right?
Yeah, like I said, my owners bought him at Keeneland for $25,000, so they're just kind of enjoying a couple wins with him and taking a shot in a big race. It's fun to do. It's kind of what most owners are in it for, right, is to try to run in a big one here or there.
Talk a little bit more about the owners, Lance and Steve Kinross. Am I pronouncing their last name correctly?
Correct. Yeah, they flew in town. We actually had dinner here last night at the casino here at Indiana and had a good time. And they're excited. They go to Keeneland every year. They'll be coming this year again in September. They come themselves and with their trainer from Utah, Monty Turner, and they look at the horses themselves and pick them out themselves. And obviously they have a budget and they stick to it. And they've come up with some nice horses for a nice price.
Are they also based in Utah?
They are. They're all from St. George area.
Right. Is this the first horse you've had for them, Bill?
Yeah, they sent me two 2-year-olds this past fall. Brother Kenny was one of them, and so it's the first 2 horses I've had for them, yeah.
You know, this wouldn't be the first Greatest Stakes victory on your resume. You have a couple of others. They came back in 2018, the Grade 3 Las Ciénegas and the Grade 2 Summertime Oaks. Where would this one rank for you after having to wait all this time to get another shot at it?
Well, of course, it's always fun to run in a graded race, and if you win one, it's a huge bonus, obviously. You know, we've probably had some lower-priced horses in some graded stakes before. I think we're going to be a bit of a price today, but doesn't mean we're not in with a shot. Of course, if we could pull it off, it'd be a huge upset and a huge win, but again, you never know. We're here trying. The horse is doing good, so we're going to take our shot.
Yeah, I mean, Wayne Lukas made a Hall of Fame career out of doing that, right?
Yeah, Wayne Lukas has pulled numerous ones off throughout his career. You know, you see guys do it once in a while. You know, you don't read about the ones that get beat so much, but you know that we all know going in we're looking for an upset. We're looking for a shocker here, but we'd be thrilled to hit the board. We'd be thrilled just to run a good race in here, and who knows.
Bill, what traits do good horses have that maybe in common, you know, things that they all tend to do the same way that makes them special? And I know that we can't put Brother Kenny quite in that category yet. He only has that allowance win, the 9 winners of 1 other than, to his credit. But if he were to win, you start thinking of him as being kind of special. What traits do all good horses have in common?
I think Brother Kenny's definitely an above-average horse. Like you said, today we're going to find out if he's really a legit stakes horse or not.
Yep.
The best horses, they legit have a keen sense of some speed in there somewhere, whether it's early speed, middle speed, late speed. There's a brilliant kick in there somewhere, you know. And you usually see that in the mornings with most of them. And then the real good ones you see in the afternoon, of course. But sometimes you got to kind of hang in there with some of these horses that do show you some of that in the morning, like a Brother Kenny. He showed us some decent works early, late fall last year, I guess it was. And had a couple of races that were a little disappointing, but sometimes you got to kind of hang in there because you've seen that zip in the mornings a little bit. So sometimes you got to hang in there. I've probably been guilty of it in the past, maybe giving up sometimes on one here or there that maybe needed a little more time to try some of these kind of races. So here we are, taking our shot.
Talking with trainer Bill Morey here on the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network. If you don't think he's capable of pulling off an upset here this afternoon, you might want to look at his resume. He's closing in on the 2,000 win milestone for his career, 1,918 coming into today. He's off to a solid start through the first half of 2025. And, Bill, this is Brother Kenny, not the only horse you're going to saddle today at Horseshoe Indianapolis. You also have 7 Emmys in a maiden special weight race, number 3, earlier in the program. Joe Ramos will also get the leg up there. Tell me a little bit more about 7 Emmys.
Yeah, she came to us late fall as well the past year, and she hadn't shown a heck of a lot in her early training. Kind of that example I just gave you. She's one that we kind of hung in there with and kind of kept trying and gave her some time, and she showed some run first out. So, she seems to be on the improve a little bit. I think this field's probably a little bit tougher than the one she faced first out, but she got the right to improve. Her dam was a decent filly. She won some nice races, and they're good clients. They're very patient, and we're giving her a chance in there as well.
Bill, how many horses do you have in training now?
We've been carrying about 40 for the last few years back here, but we're spread out a bit. You know, in the Midwest and the East, you get spread out a little bit. You don't just have them all in one place. So we carry about 25 at Turfway Park, and then I carry between 5 and 10 in New York. In the winter, I usually have about 5 up there, and then in the summer for Saratoga, I have 10 plus up there.
You know, I talk about this quite often on the program. I guess maybe being based in Lexington, it's near and dear to my heart, certainly. But the racing product in Kentucky now, you talk about being based at Turfway. There are no easy spots anymore.
No, it's gotten tougher just since we've been here. We've been here 6 years now, and Actually, the first couple of years we were here, I'm not going to say it was easy, but it was easier. I was actually leading trainer 2 years in a row at the holiday meet at Turfway. And gosh, it's gotten significantly tougher since then. But it's good racing. It's good money. Owners are excited to run for the good money. And there's better and better trainers and horses staying every year, even for the winter meet at Turfway and now the summer meet at Ellis this year, those kind of things. Obviously, Keeneland and Churchill have no problem keeping good quality as well. So, I mean, the Kentucky circuit has gotten really tough, but it's good to be here. It's fun to be here. Owners want to be here. It's a good place to be.
What is your plan for the rest of the summer and into the fall?
I will be, matter of fact, my wife and I are driving up to Saratoga on Monday. We've kind of fallen in love with Saratoga in the summertime. So I will be focused on Saratoga for the next couple of months. We'll still have the stable in Kentucky running at Indiana and Ellis as well. But the focus will be Saratoga for the next couple of months.
That's an easy place to fall in love with, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I've pretty much raced at just about every track in the country. And it's my favorite by a landslide.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I grew up just about an hour from there, cut my teeth on racing by going to Saratoga, sitting at the picnic tables with the shorts and the ball cap on and just betting races.
Yeah, it's just a different experience.
So charming.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I've done the Del Mar thing, which is a great place too, but I got a soft spot for Saratoga for sure.
Will you have many to run up there?
We'll have about 10 horses there. We won't be making a ton of noise. We're not going to be in the tops of the trainers list by any means, but we're just hoping to enjoy it, and maybe we can sneak a couple home there.
Yeah, winning any race at Saratoga is special. I hope you get to experience it more than once, my friend, and I hope you get to experience a victory later today with Brother Kenny. Good luck in that race, buddy, and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
All right, Bill Morey here on HRRN. Yeah, I mean, he's been around a little bit, right? And he's not the name of a Pletcher or a Cox or an Asmussen, Bill Mott. But Bill Morey can train. If you're closing in on 2,000 winners in your career, his runners have earned more than $37 million in purses. The guy knows what he's doing. And this is a shot. You heard him talk about taking a shot with Brother Kenny today. Brother Kenny doesn't look on paper as if he's going to be on par with a horse like, let's say, Instant Replay just to his outside for trainer Brad Cox, who comes out of that win in the Texas Derby. Instant Replay's numbers on paper, far superior to Brother Kenny. You can say the same thing about the Brian Lynch trainee, Big Truz, who comes out of a third-place finish in the Grade 1 Woody Stevens. Even Chunk of Gold for Ethan West has some better numbers than the last couple for Brother Kenny. But horses don't know that. And this is why trainers take their shots. Maybe Instant Replay doesn't show up today, right? Doesn't run his race, doesn't handle the track. Maybe Big Truz doesn't handle the stretch out. This is his first time going longer. Maybe he's a sprinter. And all of a sudden, things kind of fall in your favor, and you have a horse who you know likes the local track, and he starts picking up the pieces. Anything can happen, and you heard me mention that to him. I've said this for years on this show, maybe since I started on radio 22 years ago. Nobody was better at pulling a rabbit out of a hat in a big race than Dwayne Lukas. And why? Because he put the horse in the race. He took his shot. Things happen in horse races. Horses can't read the tote board. Horses don't know that they're a long shot. Horses don't know anything about the competition. They just go out there and do their thing. And maybe today things break for Bill Morey in his direction and Brother Kenny. Cool story about the owners. Would be fun to see this horse standing in the winner's circle later today. But he's right. That is a very tough renewal of the Indiana Derby. Looking forward to that race. In case you're wondering, post time for the Indiana Derby, 6:33 Eastern. It is race number 12 on the program there today. It is preceded by the Indiana Oaks, also a Grade 3, race 11, which will go at 5:55 Eastern Time. Plenty more conversation about the racing coming up later today at Saratoga and even at Horseshoe Indianapolis, because Eric Halstrom is the general manager and vice president at Horseshoe Indy. He'll join me in the second hour of the show around 9:40 to talk more about the entire program. And you'll hear from jockey Jose Ortiz, Todd Pletcher, all of that still to come in hour number 2. But when I return, Baley Hare, the newly named racing secretary at Ellis Park, will join me to preview their meet and tell you about some of the things you can look forward to at the P-Patch. That comes up next right after your Legends of the Turf in this short commercial break.
To be labeled a Titan of the Turf is neither to be taken lightly nor a term to be recklessly bandied about. By anybody's measure or means, the subject of this piece has to be unqualified to classify it as indeed a true Titan of the Turf. His lifetime spanned the administrations of American Presidents Ulysses S. Grant through Lyndon Baines Johnson. And when he passed away in 1966 as a nonagenarian at the age of 92, a bright, sparkling light in the world of thoroughbred racing suddenly went dark. He was born in a small cottage in Brooklyn, New York on July 23, 1874, on land which later became part of the old Sheepshead Bay racetrack. At the age of 11, on the very day Grover Cleveland was inaugurated as president, he joined the racetrack colony as an errand boy for the Dwyer Brothers stable while sleeping in the loft. He became a jockey at the age of 16 and rode until 1901 when he switched to training. His last mount was a horse called Agnes D, who finished dead last in a field of 5 in the title stakes at Sheepshead Bay. The scales of justice were to be balanced, as it were, since Agnes D was the very first winner he settled as a trainer a few races later, and with that win came the inception of an absolutely phenomenal career. Between 1907, when tabulated records began, and the end of his 5-star career, he saddled 2,275 winners, including virtually every major stakes race east of the Mississippi. His inaugural stakes winner was Stargaze in the Merchants and Citizens Handicap in the Saratoga Cup. This guy only had a 6th-grade formal education, and he wrote very poorly, but he trained thoroughbreds with unmatched success for the likes of Colonel E.V.D. Morrell, James F. Quincy Johnson, Ambassador Breckinridge Long, Senator Johnson Camden, William Woodward Sr. and Jr., Ogden Mills Phipps, Ogden Phipps, Edith Woodward Bancroft, Mrs. Whitney Sloan, dancer Vernon Castle, and a warden at the Sing Sing prison, among many, many others. His horses, including Bold Ruler, Nashua, and Gallon Fox, won 470 stakes races. He often said his best distance horse had been Diablo, and Johnstown his best sprinter. To this day, he's the only trainer with 2 Triple Crown winners to his credit, Gallon Fox and Omaha. Among other standouts he trained were Apache, Bossuet, Fighting Fox, Vagrancy, Bushanda, High Voltage, Misty Morn, Mary Lassie, and Happy Gal. The subject of this profile had another quite remarkable talent as well. He developed his own veterinary supplies for ailing horses, and he personally used them as well as prescribing them for others. Eddie Arcaro at one time had severe bursitis problems and very nearly quit riding as a result. But the man herein being profiled put Arcaro on a leg paint he had developed for horses. Now, Eddie may have had a horsey smell about him going postward, but it helped him put on many of those inimitable pumping, driving finishes going to the wire. Yes, indeed, he did have a way with riders. In the early 1900s, he took a young Hebrew rider under his tutelage whose name was Walter Miller. Miller had not ridden a single winner in 1907, his apprentice year, but in 1908 he won 388 races while under the tutorial guidance of our man. That 388 win record stood for 40 years. Headley Woodhouse was the last to ride in the colors of our subject, red and orange. Woodhouse once apologized for giving one of his horses less than satisfactory a ride in a major stakes race, and our man replied, quote, "You couldn't have ridden him any worse than I would have." The man who went his way to meet the Grim Reaper in that great paddock in the sky at the nonagenarian age of 92 in 1966 won the Kentucky Derby 3 times, the Preakness 4 times, the Belmont 6 times, the Jockey Club Gold Cup 7 times, the Lawrence Realization, Wood Memorial, and Alabama Stakes 8 times, the Dwyer 9 times, and the Saratoga Cup a remarkable 10 times. He was the man who once said, quote, "When you're away from New York, you're camping out." The saga of this venerable monument to thoroughbred racing, worthy of a Homerian epic, and the stuff of which legends are crafted, was a legend in his own time. He was Sonny Jim Fitzsimmons, the man from Brooklyn.
This is HRRN, horse racing's voice.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's Indiana Derby Day, Saturday, July 5th at Horseshoe Indianapolis, featuring more than $1.1 million in purses and a full day of premier racing beginning at noon. Enjoy a cigar rolling station, $2,500 Derby Legends contest, $3,000 Derby Mega Bet drawing, and $1,000 Derby hat contest. Look for more information at HS Indy Racing. Don't miss Indiana Derby Day beginning at noon, Saturday, July 5th at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Located off I-74 at exit 109 in Shelbyville.
In the heat of competition, every breath matters. Flair Equine nasal strips are clinically proven to reduce airway resistance. By protecting their lungs, you can reduce the risk of EIPH, quicken recovery, and optimize performance. Make a difference in every race and every stride with the product backed by science and trusted by top trainers. Trust Flair for every horse, every breath. Learn the science at flairstrips.com. That's flairstrips.com.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
They're off the turn. Vodka with a twist. The lead is 2.5. So there she was on the wrong lead. Fortuna Mia trying to sustain that bid. Adira down toward the rail. Daisy Duke from last is rallying. So Duke Lee. But they're inside the final furlong. And Vodka with a twist is clear by 4. And Vodka with a twist goes gate to wire in the debutante. The final margin is 3. So there she was, chased her home to be second. Fortuna Mia was third.
Welcome back to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires. Mike Penna, Baron of the Backstretch, with you right up until 11 a.m. Eastern. Got a chance to talk about the Indiana Derby in the first segment of the program with trainer Bill Morey, and now we get to focus on the P-Patch, literally the P-Patch in western Kentucky, Ellis Park, Henderson area. If you haven't been there, you want to make sure you go check it out. It is a very special place. And you just heard the call from Travis Stone of Vodka with a Twist, winning last year's debutante at Churchill Downs. Vodka with a Twist going to be among the favorites, if not the favorite, in tomorrow's P-Patch Stakes at Ellis. And I know that is good news to Baley Hare, who is the newly named racing secretary at Ellis Park. Baley, good morning.
How are you, boss?
Man, looking forward to this conversation. Happy to have you aboard. Yet, listen, the P-Patch, as it's called, is such a cool place, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. We're happy to have it, and it's been exciting, to say the least, for the first 2 opening days.
This is going to be a pretty good meet, too. You look at all the purses that are going to be handed out. What, a record $4 million across 18 stakes races? Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, we've been excited about this purse increase that we've had this year. It's keeping a lot of local horsemen here close and here at home, and nonetheless, getting a few more eyes on it as well. So we're definitely excited, to say the least.
How much easier, Baley, does that make your job as the racing secretary when you start, getting bigger purses and you're able to offer more money? Does it make things a little easier for you and the team?
Oh, without a doubt. You know what? In years past, being here for the past decade now, it's funny to think the position that we're in versus where I started here. The amount of money that's come in through the state for our purse program, through handle, through different machines and things like that, and gaming, it's exciting, to say the least. It does make things a little bit easier. Obviously, horsemen and owners and everybody likes to see dollar signs, as well as the opportunity that we have to give. So things are pretty organic here. Horsemen come to run. We don't have to ask too many questions, and we're just here to make sure that everything's going in the right direction.
I'm glad that you brought up, your background and being there for 10 years. Walk me through, let's let people get to know Baley Hare a little bit if they're not familiar with you. Walk me through your background, going back to how you got started in racing in the first place.
You know what? It's thick in the blood for me. I was lucky in that capacity. My father rode, my grandfather rode. After my dad's riding career, he's been a jockey agent for the past 30 years. So I got a close look that way. On the other side of the family, my mom did everything. She trained for a while, and Grandpa trained, and had a little homebred situation and home breeding situation in Washington. But just through and through, heard the stories, done the things, and while I haven't done everything in racing, being able to at least put myself in everyone else's shoes has definitely been a plus on my side, I think, personally.
I think all of that experience certainly helps, and you're still a young man, so this the sky's the limit for Baley Hare. There's no doubt about it. But how cool is it to be in this position at a place like Ellis Park?
You know what? Ellis is awesome. I grew up more in the Midwest, jumping around to a few different places with the family and things like that. It reminds me of those places so much that I grew up with. You know what? The local crowd here in Henderson is great, small town type of city. But that being said, when it gets warm in the Henderson area, the locals know to come on down to Ellis Park. The first 2 days already, we've been extremely excited with we've been able to produce. And that being said, it's awesome to see the local hometown crowd come out and support us. Between Grandma coming out, the picnic tables, the local crowd, everybody gets a little excited, and it's fun to see those same faces year after year come out and support us.
You mentioned your dad, former jockey, Scott, and you're now a jockey agent, your mom, on the training side of things. What led you to get involved on the, I'll call it the front side management side of racing?
You know what? Out of high school, I did the little kid type of jobs at, believe it or not, Retama Park in Texas, small little town, but small little track. But kind of dabbled there, and just having the leg up in the industry with my parents and my family, knowing the players, knowing the people that to be in contact with between management and horsemen alike. There was a position open eventually in the racing office. I took my chance. I grabbed it, and eventually it turned into what it is now. I took some opportunities. I did some time in Texas. I did some time at Fairgrounds. I got lucky enough. Dan Bork hired me at Ellis, and I've been in Kentucky ever since, to be honest with you.
I was going to bring that up to you. You and I have one thing in common, and that is we both had a chance to work with Dan Bork, who I think the world of. Dan, of course, was the racing secretary at Ellis Park, and now he has moved on over to Colonial, and you've taken his place as the racing secretary at Ellis. I worked with Dan at Keeneland when I was working there with Barb Borden when she was an identifier at Keeneland. I was her assistant 20-plus years ago. And Dan Bork, man, you got some big shoes to fill there, brother.
Without a doubt. You know what? He's done an amazing job here at Ellis in the past couple decades, I guess to say now. Sorry, Dan, to reveal your age there. But you know what? Dan's done a lot of things for Ellis Park with previous ownerships, with shepherding it into what this program is now. And I'm just looking to keep the trend rolling for him, to be honest with you.
Okay, I mentioned the stake schedule and how strong that is. Let's talk about the racing product, and I'll let you kind of put a commercial out there, if you will, to recruit horsemen to Ellis Park, because there is plenty of reasons to show up, including tomorrow's $150,000 P-Patch. Let's start there. I mentioned Vodka with a Twist, who's going to be a major player. Talk about that race and how that one came together.
You know what? Everybody's finally looking for those chances to stick with their own age group there, especially for the girls, for any type of breeding or page type of capabilities there. And to be honest with you, just like you said, Vodka with the Twist is very interesting. She's going and she's going to try the green stuff. Eventually that may lead to a type of campaign that it might lead her on to some places here in state if she likes it and takes to it enough. Obviously, she's got the back class, and Bill knows what he's doing. With dirt and turf training, to say the least. And he's one of those newer guys, and he's been here for a couple of years. But that being said, it's a good name to have over in the Midwest as compared to just being in the West Coast. So I think that's the big test there. Obviously, you know what, for the players that have been looking at us the past 2 days, our opening day, we've been playing pretty fair. So, you know what, somebody may pop up and nab her at the wire. But that being said, on paper, she looks pretty good in that spot. But we haven't been giving the money away to just the direct favorites just yet. We've had some decent prices come up on the board, so we're happy to see that too.
What are some of the highlights throughout the racing season that horsemen and horse players can look forward to?
You know what? We've been promoting our Kentucky Downs Preview Day pretty well, and that's been a good handshake between both of our facilities, to be honest with you. So here in the beginning of August is when we start really ramping up our stakes program between the turf possibilities in the first weekend in August, and then we swap it up right following it behind there. We got our big Ellis Park Derby Day, which we try to throw a few more dollars at and see if we can try and recruit anybody to come our way this year.
Yeah, the Ellis Park Derby will be August 10th, and the Kentucky Downs Preview Day is August 2nd, so the week prior. Those are two solid weekends of racing.
Yeah, no, we get really excited about that just in the middle of summer. Our local horsemen support it, definitely. The timing before Kentucky Downs, the opportunity for trainers to automatically get a berth, the opportunity for owners to get some of those fees covered as far as their entry fees into the races over at Kentucky Downs. Not only is the race good itself, but if you get those added bonuses, it's just that much more reason to try and participate with us.
Baley Hare, the racing secretary at Ellis Park, joining me here on the Equine Forum presented by TwinSpires. Baley, how about the development of the youngsters that we've seen in recent years coming through that program at Ellis Park? The juvenile, the debutante, both scheduled for Sunday, August 10th, which is the same day as the Ellis Park Derby. Talk about the focus and the emphasis that you put on those races.
You know what? We used to be everybody's little secret, but I guess the cat's out of the bag now. Not only with our money that we're able to give away. A handful of horsemen have been stabled with us the past couple of years, and thankfully they've been very positive on our surface. Our dirt surface there. It's a big training track. They can get around it very well. You're not worried about any tight turns nowhere here. But that being said, the timing of the year, the surface, the money that we're able to give away, and it equals things. I think you might be able to check back there, but last year we had 3 babies participate, and those 3 babies ended up being in the Derby in some form or fashion. So you know what? It's exciting to say the least to be able to look back and go, oh, yeah, they might not have won this race, but they were here or made their first start, got their legs underneath them, and able to go farther. So,
yeah, no, I think it's a fantastic. I mean, those 2 races themselves, the Ellis Park Juvenile and the Debutante on August 10th, are a couple of my favorites. I also love the Groupie Doll, the 1 mile on the main track there, the 3-year-old nut fillies and mares. That's always a fun race.
No, to say the least, we've had. We used to have it graded there, and we're looking to try and get it back. Hopefully we'll get that done here shortly.
Yeah, it should. But what goes into those decisions? I know that it's the American Grade Stakes Committee, but when you're saying we're trying to get the grade back, how do you go about doing it?
You know what? We're making the extra efforts. We're making the phone calls, seeing if any of these girls around might be able to participate, trying to get trainers to look our way. That way those top-graded girls can participate with us, maybe go on to do prep with us, and then go on to do something bigger and better. That way it just helps get more eyesight toward us, and the committee may grant that for us if we're lucky enough.
And we talk about the purses that are going to be offered at Ellis Park this summer and the increase in the amount of purses with the stakes races. A lot of that money comes from the KTDF. Explain how all of that comes together, Baley.
Yeah, so we're lucky enough to have some of those historical horse racing machines here in state, and that just generates a big pool for us to come from. So we try to sprinkle it where we can, and thankfully through legislature and everything in Kentucky between us and the HPPA, it's been a very positive experience, as everybody now knows. But you know what? we try to put it where we can. Obviously, we'd love to give away everything and more, but for the time being able to give what we can has been a definite positive. So we'll have to see how we do this year, and hopefully we can keep increasing them and maybe just get that much more power in our gates here. So.
Well, Baley, I can tell you that Ellis Park is now in good hands, and I know you're going to continue what you and Dan have been working on for many years, and that program's going to continue to develop and to grow. And I want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me here this morning. That was a great maiden-breaking appearance here on the show.
No, I appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and if you ever need anything, feel free to give us a call at the Pea Patch.
Certainly will, brother, and we hope a lot of horsemen do that too.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
All right, Baley, appreciate it. All the best. Baley Hare here on the Equine Forum presented by TwinSpires. Dan Bork was quoted in the press release when Baley was announced as the new racing secretary, saying that I wouldn't leave this position in anyone else's hands besides Baley. And that's high praise from a guy like Dan Bork, who is one of the most respected racing office personalities and workers that you're going to find anywhere in the business. So kudos to them and continued success to the folks at Ellis Park. I got so excited about my first two guests here on the program that I thank goodness for our producers. They said, hey, did you ever give out the poll question? No, I did not. So here it is for you. The poll question this morning. Which bet are you making in today's Belmont Oaks Invitational? That's, of course, being run at Saratoga. We'll give you the heavy favorite Nitrogen, 4 to 5 on the morning line. Nitrogen, or you can bet the field, everyone else. Remember, it was kind of like when Tiger was so dominant in the golf world, and you could bet Tiger to win the Masters or take everybody else. Well, Nitrogen's going to be a pretty heavy favorite later today. So do you like Nitrogen that much? Just say, I'm going to bet Nitrogen. Or do you want to take a shot with everybody else in the race? So that's our poll question. You can go to @HRRN on X, Horse Racing Radio Network on Facebook, another way to weigh in on the voting. And if you don't do social media, email the show, mike@horseracingradio.net. By the way, Nitrogen going to be ridden by jockey Jose Ortiz, who has been on a roll over the course of the past couple of weeks. Jose is going to be here 9:20 Eastern Time, live from Saratoga. He'll talk about Nitrogen. He'll talk about the incredible run that he has been on over the past couple of weeks. I'll tell you more about what's coming up in hour number 2 when I come back. This is the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becker. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action? Did the caller know your Social Security number or other personal information and tell you that your Social Security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your Social Security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment, email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at OIG www.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Thursday evenings, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, is the Brisnet.com call-in show. It's your chance to call in and let the Horse Racing Radio Nation know what's on your mind. Call us at 888-966-HRRN. That's 888-966-4776. And discuss the topics you choose in the world of thoroughbred racing. The Brisnet.com call-in show. Sirius 162, XM 207, and streaming live at horseracingradio.net.
Hey, this is Bobby Newman. Join me every Friday afternoon to dive deep into handicapping the races. We'll cover the live action from some of the biggest tracks in the country, talk to some of the major players in the game, and hopefully make a little money along the way. You can also call the show to share your opinions, ask a question or two, or maybe just vent about some bad beats. It's Betting with Bobby every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern on Sirius 162, XM 207, online channel 999, or streaming live at horseracingradio.net.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
First mission, first at the quarter pole. Mindframe draws alongside. Mystic Dan does it again. He cut the corner. He's down inside third. Sierra Leone is fourth. 1 furlong to go. Mindframe has taken charge. Mindframe kicks clear by 2. Mystic Dan is rallying boldly down inside. 2 lengths to make up. 16th to go. Sierra Leone's hanging tough as well. But it's Mindframe's Foster. Mindframe does it a length in the end. Sierra Leone, good effort to get second. Tight for third. Mystic Dan, our first mission.
Travis Stone with the call. Last weekend, Stephen Foster won by the Todd Pletcher trainee Mindframe. You're going to hear from Todd coming up shortly to begin hour number 2, just after 9 o'clock Eastern, so 6 or 7 minutes from right now. Todd talks about Mindframe. He also spends a lot of time remembering his mentor, his longtime friend, Dwayne Lukas. So stay tuned for that coming up in just a few minutes. Again, hour 2 also includes jockey Jose Ortiz, who will join us live from Saratoga. Eric Halstrom, the GM and Vice President of Racing at Horseshoe Indy. And then hour 3 kicks off at 10 o'clock Eastern with the TwinSpires Triple Play. James Scully will give you 3 races to watch and wager at TwinSpires this afternoon. Kurt Becker, Stroll Through Racing History at 10:20. Another wonderful remembrance of the late Dwayne Lukas. And at 10:30, I Ask, They Answer with Dale and Tim. Stay tuned for all of that still to come. As I told you, poll question this morning is a prop bet on today's Belmont Oaks Invitational at Saratoga. Which bet are you going to make? Nitrogen going to be a heavy favorite. Do you take Nitrogen? Or if I give you the field, are you going to bet the field? Take everybody else and look for the upset at the graveyard of favorites. I'm a little surprised that so far 71% of HRN Nation is saying, nope, for me, it's going to be Nitrogen. Give me the favorite, thinking that Nitrogen is that much better than everybody else. Nitrogen's pretty good, though. But I still think if I get an opportunity to make a wager on everybody else in the race and just try to have one horse beat me, I'm going to do it. Keep those votes coming at HRN on X, Horse Racing Radio Network on Facebook, or email the show, Mike at horseracingradio.net. I want to remind you, you just heard from Baley Hare, the racing secretary at Ellis Park, and there is going to be plenty of things happening in Lexington and Central Kentucky throughout the summer, including that Fasig-Tipton sale, which comes up this week, beginning July 8th. That's a really good sale, too, by the way. If you're going to be in Lexington and you're looking for an outstanding meal, I promise you, you will not do better than Tony's of Lexington. They're located on Main Street just behind Rupp Arena. You'll want to call now and get your reservations. Tell them that the Baron said, hey, I have to check this place out. If you haven't been there, make sure you get there. You're looking for an outstanding atmosphere, great staff, wonderful food, great steak. I've told you many, many times, the greatest steak I have ever had anywhere, and that remains true to this very day. They also tell me the sea bass is pretty good, but I'm not a fish guy, so I've never tried it. But my wife loves it. She said it's fantastic. So give them a call, Tony's of Lexington, and make your reservations now. Make sure you get in because they're going to be very, very busy. Want to remind you, too, that nominations for the 2025 Saratoga Summer Meet are now open, and with over 60 stakes races, the Saratoga Summer Meet provides an opportunity for horses of all divisions to achieve the coveted black type status. To nominate, visit NYRA.com/horseman. And the card today at Saratoga, another fantastic program. Yesterday was great. Today continues to be great, and it's nice that the weather is cooperating. That is not always the case in upstate New York, but it certainly is this weekend. You have 3 stakes races today. All of those are graded. The Grade 3 Sanford, the Grade 3 Kelso, and the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks Invitational, which is the topic of our poll question here this morning. And when Jose Ortiz joins me, he's going to talk about all 3 of those races. He's pretty well mounted in each of them. We'll get a chance to visit about those horses coming up in just a little bit. But the program there today, rock solid. Tomorrow, a bit of a quieter day for a Sunday. But then we start to gear up for the main Saratoga meet, which promises to have plenty of fireworks coming up over the course of the next couple of months all the way through Labor Day, highlighted, of course, by the Travers in late August. And that should be a great – this division – you heard my conversation with Bill Morey talking about brother Kenny going in the Indiana Derby later today. Brother Kenny's a long shot in there. He is not on par with the top horses in this 3-year-old division right now. He's trying to get his name out there and throw his hat into the ring, but he's not going to be up there with a Sovereignty or a Journalism or a Baeza, the horses we've seen running so well throughout the Triple Crown campaign. But my goodness, when this group gets back together again, let's hope it is in the Travers, it's going to be spectacular, because I think this crop of 3-year-olds is as strong as we've seen in many, many years. So lots of things to look forward to this summer, lots of things to look forward to this weekend, and coming up in hour 2 and hour number 3. Second hour of the program comes your way next, right after this 10-second pause for station identification. This is the Horse Racing Radio Network, where racing comes to talk.
This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires.
Welcome back, hour 2 of 3. Mike Penna, Baron of the Backstretch, with you up until 11 a.m. Eastern, as always, here on the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires. Lots of things coming up here over the next couple of hours. I told you about Todd Pletcher. He will join me as we go down the road to the Breeders' Cup to kick off hour number 2. Jose Ortiz, Eric Halstrom, also set to come your way here in the second hour of the show. At the end of the program, after Dale and Tim with I Ask, They Answer, right around 10:55 Eastern, I will reveal the answer to this week's impossible trivia question. And I think this one qualifies as impossible. A very difficult question put together by our producer, Lee Delapina. What horse was Pat Day riding when he became the 6th jockey in history to win $100 million? What horse was Pat Day riding when he became the 6th jockey in history to win $100 million? That is a truly difficult question. No Googling, but if you know the answer and you want to email it and share it with us, you can do it on our social media pages. You can email the show, mike@horseracingradio.net. But if you get this one right, kudos to you, because I think this one's as tough as they come. Well, as I mentioned, trainer Todd Pletcher sat down with me yesterday for an extended visit. We had a chance to remember his friend, his mentor, Dwayne Lukas. We had a chance to look back on Mindframe's win in the Stephen Foster last weekend and look ahead to what's coming up this weekend. Here's that conversation with Todd Pletcher as we go down the road to the Breeders' Cup. Last Saturday, Hall of Fame trainer Todd Pletcher celebrated a tremendous win in the Stephen Foster Stakes at Churchill Downs. Mindframe winning that race. You heard that call just a short time ago here on the program. He punches his ticket to the Breeders' Cup Classic at Del Mar in November. Just hours later, Todd would learn about the passing of his longtime friend and mentor, Dwayne Lukas, the legendary trainer, passing away at his home in Louisville at the age of 89. Todd joins me now to remember Dwayne, to look back on Mindframe, and to look ahead to his races coming up later today. Todd, I appreciate the visit, my friend.
Sure.
Very sorry for your loss of Dwayne Lukas. It's a loss that resonates with so many of us here in the industry. When you hear the name Dwayne Lukas, what things immediately come to mind, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, I think just, a larger-than-life individual that, sort of transcended the sport. He's, like you said, it's a personal loss, but really it's a huge loss for the entire industry, and for a man that you could argue had as much influence and impact on the sport as anyone in history.
What do you remember about the first time you met Dwayne Lukas?
It was kind of one of those things. I don't know exactly when the first time I met him. One of the reasons I was able to sort of get my foot in the door with Wayne was because my dad trained quarter horses in Ruidoso, and kind of around the same time that Wayne was still in the quarter horse business. So, that would have been going back to when I was probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and but just kind of even at that age, recognizing, this is someone who does things a little bit differently, and kind of flamboyant, and even back then always had the best looking barn, and just so I don't recall exactly the first time, but I know, knowing who he was from very early age.
Yeah, a very special person, and somebody who is certainly going to be missed in this sport. How about as a teacher, Todd? How do you describe Wayne Lukas as a teacher?
Well, I think I've kind of been reflecting a bit and going back and watching a lot of his interviews and speeches and what have you on YouTube and various outlets like that, and just the one thing that you kind of keep going back to, that you keep hearing him say, was he kind of felt like he was, I don't know if you would say destined to be a teacher or coach, but I think, I heard him say a number of times that he always felt like he kind of took that teaching mindset with him, even when he was no longer a teacher in school or a coach of a basketball team. He was still kind of had that teacher to his barn and the way that it was organized and run, and that he was always telling the exercise riders what he thought they should be doing or how they should be doing it, and teaching them different things. And the same thing with everyone else in the barn, including the assistants. He was always good to tell you what he was thinking, tell you why he was wanting to do something a certain way, and kind of have some reasoning behind it. And so, I think he was just, that was sort of who he was a a coach and a teacher.
If you were to point to one or two significant lessons that you learned in your time being around Dwayne Lukas before going out on your own, what were those things? What would those things be?
I don't think it was so much like one thing. I think the thing that you learned from him was that it was everything, and that mindset, that approach to every day of just being totally committed, totally reliable, and really focusing on every single detail, and that sort of mindset of every detail matters, and every detail trickles down and carries over to everyone in the barn, and so I think that his philosophy was the small things make the big things better, and so he was always focused on that. And I just think most of us that work there, when you work in a in an environment that's organized, that's very clean and tidy, and everything has a place, and everything's in its place, that you kind of take that with you, and it makes you sort of incorporate that same philosophy and theory into your organization.
You and I talked on our Trainer Talk program years ago, the first time you ever joined me on that particular show, Todd, and it might even date back about 10 years. But there was a line that you said to me, or we discussed, that Wayne had used. Wayne had said, when referring to you and to Kieran and Dallas and Mike Maker, George Weaver, all of those disciples of his, if you will, who went on to do great things in the business, he said they were going to be good without me. Do you really believe that?
Well, I mean, I think everyone, in their own right had the ability to be successful. I think the real key is, would we have been as successful without Wayne's influence? And I think, we could all say, the answer to that is a resounding no, that he made us better. He brought out, what talent we did have, or he maybe was the reason why we were able to maintain focus and maintain dedication to it. So, I don't think there's any doubt that all the guys that you mentioned were going to be successful and going to do well, but without a doubt, Wayne Lukas was a huge influence on that.
You mentioned that you spent some time reflecting. I think all of us have done that. Is there a favorite Wayne Lukas memory or story that comes to mind when you think about your time around him, even if it was after you went out on your own?
No, I mean, there's so many. I was sharing one on the TDN Riders Room when they were interviewing me about. I remember a time he was at Belmont, and I'm not very good at remembering the years, but he was there. He came in for some big races and was spending a few days at Belmont, and we were leaving the barn around lunchtime. He was staying at the Garden City Hotel, and I was giving him a ride back to the hotel, and we were driving back. He said, "Hey, let's stop at this Carvel ice cream store and grab a milkshake on the way back." And so we went into the store, and there's a young lady behind the counter, and he said, "Give me an extra large double chocolate milkshake." And so the girl took some vanilla ice cream, put 2 squirts of chocolate syrup into it, and handed him the shake. And he kind of politely said, that's not exactly the way I wanted it. I would like chocolate ice cream with chocolate syrup. And so she said, "I'm sorry, sir." And she went to take back the extra large milkshake that she had given him. And he said, no, give me that. I'll drink this while you make the other one. And so he's drinking that one and making him an extra large double chocolate milkshake with chocolate ice cream. And she puts a squirt of chocolate in there, and then she sort of looks over at him like, "You want that second squirt of chocolate?" And he kind of gave her with that, he kind of had, that grin that he'd have sometimes, and he kind of, nodded his head and gave her the go-ahead to put that second squirt of chocolate syrup in there. And I was thinking about it at the time, like, it was pretty cool that, he took the first milkshake and downed that one while he was waiting on the other one. But then, when I was thinking about it later on, it was kind of like, that's kind of the way Wayne lived life, right? Like, he was that guy that had the double chocolate milkshake with 2 squirts, a chocolate syrup in it, and that's sort of the way he took on everything.
That's a fantastic story. Last Saturday on the program, I was reflecting upon his career with Dale Romans and Tim Wilkin in our I Ask, They Answer segment of the show. And I asked them which horses, and there were so many greats, which horses they would put on a Wayne Lukas Mount Rushmore. And that's a very difficult thing. But if you were to select, I don't know, give me 4 or 5 horses that you think would be worthy of being on a Wayne Lukas Mount Rushmore.
Well, I think interestingly, is everyone has been talking about the career that he had, but Wayne was remarkable in the fact that he basically had 2 Hall of Fame careers. He had the quarter horse Hall of Fame training career, followed by the thoroughbred training Hall of Fame career, and the one horse that he told me that he was the only horse that he ever trained that he thought would never get beaten, and that was Dash for Cash, who was a world champion quarter horse. But I think in fairness, you would have to put that horse on the Mount Rushmore. But then after that, now it gets complicated. I think you got to put Lady Secret on there. She is arguably one of the best race mares in of our lifetime. Then I think you probably got to put Winning Colors on there, being a filly who won the Kentucky Derby. Serena Song sits on there somewhere. Unbelievable career. Probably the best grass horse he ever had, who won the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile when I worked for him, was Steinland. And then Gulch, a champion sprinter, Thunder Gulch, another Derby winner. I mean, the list just goes on and on. It would be hard to narrow it down to a handful, but those are just some of the many. Criminal Type, Horse of the Year, beat Sunday Silence, and Jose Santos told me the best horse he'd ever ridden. A lot. Just wow, that's an incredible list to even think about.
Yeah, it truly is. Todd Pletcher, the Hall of Famer, remembering his good friend and mentor, the late Hall of Famer D. Wayne Lukas. A very special relationship there. Todd, just as I mentioned, just hours before you learned about the passing of Wayne on Saturday afternoon, you had a chance to celebrate a victory in the Stephen Foster with Mindframe. And this is a horse that now looks like he is the horse to beat in the older horse division, looking ahead to the Breeders' Cup Classic. Talk about that effort in the Stephen Foster.
Oh, I mean, that was a loaded field, and it looked like arguably the race of the year so far with Breeders' Cup Classic winner and their Derby winner, and just a loaded field, and it was very exciting to think that Mindframe, we knew he liked the track at Churchill. He was 2 for 2 there, but one of those was an allowance race going a mile and 16, and the last one was in the Churchill Down Stakes, where he was able to win a Grade 1 going 7 furlongs. So it's just really, really special to have a horse that's capable of winning back-to-back Grade 1s from 7 furlongs. One time to the next time in a mile and an eighth race. It's pretty rare that you have ones that can do that. So it was a terrific win for Mindframe. It was a great win for Rapoli Stables and St. Elias, and great win for Constitution, who's one of my favorite stallions. Also, a big win for Claiborne, who had purchased his breeding rights following the Churchill Down Stakes. So yeah, really just a tremendous win for everyone on the team.
Is it safe to say that Mindframe might be just coming into his own now?
I think that's fair to say, and especially when you think about what he did as a 3-year-old to go from a 13-length maiden debut win, going 7/8 to just getting beat in the Belmont in his 3rd lifetime start and finishing 2nd in the Haskell. And he's a May foal, so I think there's every reason to believe, and we've always felt like that he was going to be a better 4-year-old than a 3-year-old, and so far I think that's holding true.
We are recording this conversation on Friday morning. Saturday morning is going to be super busy for you when this interview is airing, which means that by Saturday morning, we may have already watched Locke win the Suburban, which is being run Friday afternoon at Saratoga. We won't have a chance to know what those results are, obviously, at this point, Todd, but just talk about where you see Locke in his development at this point anyway.
Well, I mean, he's always been a very, very talented horse, very, a Grade 1 winner at 2, able to win the, Cigar Mile at 3, going, obviously a mile, and then to win the Santa Anita Handicap, it's going 1.25 miles. He's a super talented horse. I think, maybe people are a little down on him after the Yali Sheba, but, I think when you really analyze that race, the Fierceness set a track record. The fastest mile is 16th they've ever run at Churchill Downs. So when you think about that, that's pretty phenomenal. But they did it off slow fractions, of like a 48.5, and usually when track records are set, they're usually set in situations where you have a pretty fast early pace. And so in Locke's case, he was off the pace, which was slow, and now he was trying to close into a track record setting finish, the last part, which, it was too much to ask for in that particular situation. But, I think hopefully when this is aired, he's come back and bounced back and put together, the type of performance he's capable of.
Yeah, it could be either Locked or Antiquarian standing in the winner's circle of the Suburban Friday afternoon. Let me ask you about Fierceness for a quick second. This is a horse, we just talked about Mindframe maybe being the leader in the division. Other people will say, hold on, Todd's got that other horse over there, Fierceness. He's pretty good too.
Yeah, he's very good, and I was a little worried about the Met Mile running out of the Wilson chute, and when he drew the one hole, it got a little complicated. I don't think he fired his best shot, and sometimes coming off such a huge return victory like he had in the Ali Sheba, might have been a little bit of bounce factor there too as well. But he had a dynamite breeze this morning. He's targeting the Whitney, and just a super talented horse. He likes Saratoga. He broke his maiden here and won the Jim Dandy and the Travers. So we're looking forward to the Whitney.
I was thinking about this bizarro world that we're living in now, Todd, because, we're so used to seeing you with horses, maybe many starters in the Kentucky Derby, and that streak of yours came to an end earlier this season without having a starter in the race. And now here we are talking about all these top older horses, and the cupboard is very full for Todd Pletcher on that side of things. It does seem like we're living in a bizarro world when you look at it that way.
Yeah, I was saying 21 years down the tubes for the Kentucky Derby, but and I was worried about that going into the winter and the spring. I kept saying, man, we're very fortunate to have some really good older horses, and I'm hoping some of our 3-year-olds will step up, but it just it wasn't meant to be. So we're blessed to have some of the older horses we have, and we're hoping that the current crop of 2-year-olds we have step up, and hopefully can get us back to the Derby next year.
Well, Todd, here's the hoping that 21 years from now in 2046, you and I can still be sitting here talking about that next streak and trying to continue another 21 years.
That'd be awesome.
All right, my friend. All the best coming up here on Saturday. Thank you so much for remembering Wayne with me. That was spectacular, and really appreciate the time as always.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Todd Pletcher here on HRRN. I did mention that we won't know the results of the Suburban because we recorded that on Friday morning, but one person who can shed a little light on that for us is jockey Jose Ortiz, who has been red hot of late. He rode Locked in yesterday's Suburban, and he will talk about that coming up next. This is the Equine Forum presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Scott Mallory is offering a trio of exciting prospects at the Fasig-Tipton July sale of selected yearlings on July 8th. Hip 11 out of a young Blame mare by freshman sire Mo Donegal, a son of super sire Uncle Mo. Hip 55 out of a winner-producing Animal Kingdom mare by Grade 1 winning freshman sire Drain the Clock, whose weanlings averaged 5 times the stud fee. And Hip 89 out of a multiple stakes winning mare by exciting multiple Grade 1 winning freshman sire Cyberknife, who set a new track record in the Haskell. Visit the Scott Mallory consignment in Barn 8 at Fasig-Tipton, July. Will you accept the Breeders' Cup Challenge? The chance to compete against the best in the world? The chance to race for a piece of over $34 million in purses and awards? The chance to be a champion. Winning a Breeders' Cup Challenge Series race gives you the chance to do just that, with an invitation to horse racing's biggest event of the year, the Breeders' Cup World Championships in Del Mar, where finish lines become the start of a legacy and starting gates shine on the world stage. Win a Breeders' Cup Challenge Series race and earn an automatic starting position in a Breeders' Cup race. Entry fees paid by the Breeders' Cup, a Nominator Award of $10,000, travel awards, and so much more. Here, winning a Challenge Series race is just the beginning. View the schedule of Challenge Series races happening around the world and learn more at breederscup.com/challenge.
Want to get the latest HRRN content directly on your computer or mobile device? Then subscribe to our podcast using the Podbean app or Apple Podcasts. Just go to hrrn.podbean.com on your computer and click follow, or download the Podbean app and search HRRN. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and listen to our latest episodes anytime. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our podcasts today. You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
And Frankie Dettori gets all over Mayday Ready, trying to make up some ground on Nitrogen, who is just cruising into the stretch. 111 and 2, and Nitrogen is just so far superior. This will be her 5th in a row as Nitrogen just gallops through the stretch for an afternoon workout in the Wonder again. Jose Ortiz just puts on the brakes as she will win by close to 15 lengths. Nitrogen, all alone in the Wonder again. Bessie Abbott and Mayday Ready.
Frank Miramati with the call of that Grade 3 Wonder Again Stakes at Saratoga June 7th. That was a race that was taken off the turf, run on the main track over a sloppy main track. 3 horses in the race. Nobody in the same league as Nitrogen, who wins by 17 lengths under jockey Jose Ortiz. He is back aboard this afternoon in the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks Invitational, 4-5 on the morning line. A little bit of a more challenging race. She'll face one of those same rivals in Mayday Ready, but she's a heavy favorite, and she's expected to perform again, and that would be music to the ears of Jose Ortiz, who is with me now here on HRRN. Jose, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good, buddy. I know that race last time out with Nitrogen wasn't what we thought that race was going to be going into it after the scratches and taking off the turf, but my goodness, what an effort.
Yeah, she ran amazing. Really handled the slop very, very good, and she's becoming a monster. She's getting better and better. That's what we're looking for.
She's now won 5 in a row with you in the saddle. What do you feel underneath you with Nitrogen that just gives you confidence?
Yeah, very nice filly. She's big, powerful, and she knows what she's doing. Her mind is in the right place, and she's very good. Very fortunate and blessed that I end up riding a filly like her.
Today's test, Grade 1, mile and an eighth on the grass, breaking from the outside post number 7. Not a big field. She gets that outside draw. Walk me through the way you envision this race unfolding.
Well, I mean, obviously, I feel like the 2 horse can go to the lead. The 3 horse should be close enough. And if I'm sitting right behind them, that would be the perfect scenario. But always trying to judge the pace, how fast or slow we're going, and waiting for the right time to make my move.
How do you judge the pace, Jose? We hear that talked about a lot. Jockeys have a clock in their head. What's the key to getting it right?
Just I think, experience. You got to ride a lot of horses. But obviously this course is playing fast yesterday, so it's a little bit harder to judge it. But I think I got a pretty good feel yesterday. This race will be in the outer turf, which is better for me because the inner turf is playing very fast. So this race will be running the outer, which I think is better for me.
Well, talking about yesterday, you were aboard several horses yesterday in almost every single stake, maybe every stake. One of those horses was locked, and I had a chance to visit with Todd Pletcher yesterday morning. I just played that interview in the previous segment, and he talked about Locke's development coming into that race. Of course, yesterday we didn't know how the race was going to unfold. He ends up finishing third. You were aboard. Tell me what you felt underneath you with Locked.
Felt pretty good on the first part of the race, and then just the second half, the track is very, very tiring. I mean, I don't know if you can see some other races as well. The horses are just struggling to get there, and feel like it's a heavy track for everybody. You can see very good horses just struggling to finish, and I don't think that's normal. And I think they got to take a look at the track and make it fair. It's very tiring, and a lot of horses are struggling to get there. And as you can see, yesterday, the two horses that were 1-2 were the horses that finished 1-2, and everybody else struggled behind them. And yeah, it feels like the second part of the race he struggled, and he was very even, no kick at all.
Is the track that much different than what we're used to seeing at Saratoga here in July?
I mean, it's just heavy, very heavy. Feel like it changed for one race and then it go back to heavy, and it's kind of weird for now. Hopefully we get better. But the dirt is kind of heavy and tiring. The inner turf is speedy. Everything that is 1-2, you got a huge shot. So hopefully next week we go back to normal, hopefully.
Jose, it's such an interesting point you bring up. Is it similar to what we hear about in golf on the PGA Tour, where golfers will talk about, hey, okay, if the greens are going to be fast, let's just make it consistently fast with every single green, where, have all of those be even so we know what we're dealing with. Is it kind of the same thing with racetracks where, all right, if it's going to be heavy, let it be heavy for every race. If it's going to be a turf course that's speedy, let it be speedy for every single race, as opposed to being inconsistent. Do jockeys look at it the same way?
Oh, usually, yeah, kind of. It's a good comparison. I think it doesn't change overnight. So, I mean, that turf course in the inner is very, very fast, lightning fast, and you can see good horses on the dirt are just not giving you a good run. I mean, you go back and watch the replays, you can see all these horses running two turns. They just stagger into the wire, and that's not normal. Feel like their course is a little bit off, like it's not where it needs to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is safe. It's safe, but I don't know, horses are just struggling.
Jose Ortiz with me here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. Jose, in addition to Nitrogen, you'll be aboard a couple of other horses later today, bringing it back in the Grade 3 Sanford for Mark Casse, and Think Big in the Grade 3 Kelso for Michael Stidham. Let's start with bringing it back. Tell me about bringing it back and what you know about this horse.
I rode him the 2 times that he run before. I really liked him, and I think he ran very good on the track last time here, which I love because I don't want to ride a horse right now that I haven't run in this dirt course before. He got a race under the track. I think that will help me significantly today, and I'm very happy with him. I think he's going to run big today. Obviously, the 2 horse for Steve, he won very nicely in Churchill, but I think my horse running against a very nice filly last time here in the Tremont, and I think he's gonna run big today. He worked very good last week, and we're very happy with him.
You know, I've talked to other jockeys before, Jose, who talk about the fact that with these young horses, you know, they're part of a team, but they're also, much like a trainer, they're a teacher, right, when they get out there with these horses in the afternoon. And let's face it, these are 2-year-old horses. They're still learning the game. Do you view yourself like that with these young horses where you're trying to teach them how to handle themselves in the afternoons?
No, yeah. A lot of them are not 100% mentally ready. You got to kind of walk them through it. But most of the time, the good ones, they take it quickly. Some of them take a little bit longer. But, yeah, you got to teach them. You got to teach them, and sometimes you got very nice horses that don't win the first 3 starts, and then they start getting better and better. And you got some that they got it really quick, and first time out, they go out there and they behave like they are 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. But, yeah, we got a little bit of everything. But, yeah, we gotta walk them through it and teach them. Some are better than others.
All right, let's talk about Think Big in the Kelso. You've been aboard this horse in the past. It'll be your first time in a while. Mike Stidham will give you the leg up. Tell me a little bit more about Think Big.
Actually, I don't think I never ride a horse before.
No? Oh, no, it was your brother. You're right, it was your brother.
Yeah. My brother rode him twice. He rode him at Churchill, and
yes.
He rode him at Keeneland. And I remember Ida saying that he thought the horse would be very nice on the grass, and he become very, very nice on the grass. Today it's gonna be a mile. He's been running 5.5, but I think he can handle it. He won nicely 7 furlongs in Colonial, and he handled the 7 furlongs really nicely. And I think if he did that, he's gonna handle the mile. Obviously, he's by Twirling Candy out of 3 cents mare. He should handle the mile really good, but he never run. Only run 1 time, 1.8 miles. Actually, he showed speed that day, went to the lead. So hopefully, he got a lot of 5.5 on him. Hopefully, he break good and put me into a good position.
Jose, when you have a situation like this, a horse that was ridden by your brother, even if it was a while back, and vice versa, will the two of you compare notes on those horses?
Most of the time we don't, because I can watch a replay and I can see what's going on. And I've been riding with Ida so long that I know everything about him, when he got horse, when he don't. The horse logging in, logging out. So I just go there and watch the replay. But usually I ask him if it's okay to let the pony warm him up by himself and stuff like that. Other than that, I just, every rider is different, and you got to try to develop your style. And whatever he do, I'm not going to do it because I'm not him. So I've got to just take some notes from the replays. And I actually didn't watch any replay from IRAD. He rode him twice on the dirt, so I don't want to watch that. The only dirt race I watched was the race he won at Colonia going 7 with Ben Curtis on. And then I watched his last few races on the turf, because he's going to be on the turf today. So,
what things are similar about your riding style with your brother, and what things are different?
I don't know. I don't know. That's for the people to say. I got my own style. I developed into myself. He obviously helped me a lot. But I always stay on my lane. What works for me, and he stay on his lane. Whatever works for him.
Yeah.
You can see that he's very, very strong on the end. He looked like, he jump on the horses out on the turns, like he's just jumping in there, like he's riding hard. And I'm obviously more calm, but, that's my style. The horses run for me that way. It's just, everybody's different. Whatever works for you, but we are very different, I feel like.
Yeah, it's like any athlete in any sport. And I'll come back to golf again. Not every golfer swings the club the exact same way. Not every hitter in baseball gets up to the plate and has the same stance and the same approach to hitting a baseball. It's the same thing with any athlete.
Exactly. The pitchers, they don't have the same wind-up. Everybody, you got to develop a style that works for you and execute. But obviously, you take notes from this guy, whatever this guy tells you. You listen, you try, and whatever works, you keep it. Whatever don't work, you let go, because it does. Not everything works for everyone. It's strange, but that's how I feel.
Jose, whatever you're doing, it's working. And you look at your career, it's worked throughout your entire career. You continue to get better. You're coming off of that outstanding week where you won 16 of 40 races, and you end up as the leading rider at Churchill Downs for the second time with 63 wins. Just a fantastic run. Do jockeys get into a zone where when you're winning races at a clip like that and winning so many races that you just feel like you're invincible?
Oh, yeah. You get it, definitely.
Did you feel that way when you were going through that streak?
Yes, definitely you get into a zone, yeah. When everything's clicking, is a beautiful thing. It's a great feeling, but it's also, it could go the other way too. When everything is not clicking, everything's not working, and then you over try, and that's when you messed up, I think. But, being on that zone is beautiful. I'm having fun.
Well, let's stay there, my friend, and all the best later today. Good luck in those races we talked about in every race, and more importantly, safe trip every time you get a leg up.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. We'll talk soon. Jose Ortiz, one of racing's really good guys and one of the best in the game. That goes without saying. Just fantastic, fun conversation with him. We got into a lot of different things. If you missed it, it'll be posted as a podcast on our website as part of the show later today, so make sure you check that out. Coming up next, going to turn our attention to Eric Halstrom, back to Horseshoe Indy. You heard from Bill Morey, the trainer of brother Kenny, in today's Indiana Derby. Now we'll talk to the man who helps put on the entire show. That's Eric Halstrom here on the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN, horse racing's voice.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's Indiana Derby Day, Saturday, July 5th at Horseshoe Indianapolis, featuring more than $1.1 million in purses and a full day of premier racing beginning at noon. Enjoy a cigar rolling station, $2,500 Derby Legends contest, $3,000 Derby Mega Bet drawing, and $1,000 Derby hat contest. Look for more information at HS Indy Racing. Don't miss Indiana Derby Day beginning at noon, Saturday, July 5th at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Located off I-74 at exit 109 in Shelbyville.
It's time now to shine the spotlight on the Darley Taking the Reins Performer of the Week.
Chopsticks powers past at the 16th pole, taking advantage of that hot pace, and she will do it. Chopsticks wins by nearly 3.
Congratulations to Darley Stallion Essential Quality on his first winner, 2-year-old filly Chopsticks, winning on debut in a 6-furlong dirt maiden special weight at Churchill Downs for trainer Brad Cox, just like her sire. She was a $300,000 Keeneland September yearling, bred by Mockmer Hall, and she is your Darley Taking the Reins Performer of the Week. Darley Stallion Essential Quality went on to win the Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity and the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile in an undefeated 2-year-old campaign before capturing the Grade 1 Belmont Stakes and Grade 1 Travers at 3. Tappett's all-time leading money earner, he is the only Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner ever to take the Belmont and is only the 7th colt in the 53-year history of the Eclipse Awards to be named champion at both 2 and 3. Learn more about Essential Quality and all the Darley Stallions by visiting DarleyAmerica.com.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Cole Battle for the Lonnie Briley Barns running a big one. Here comes Cole Battle and Juan Vargas on the outside of Madaket Road, rolling towards the lead. Cole Battle at the top of the lane. Madaket Road to the inside, not done. It's Cole Battle narrowly ahead. Now Sandman's getting rolling. He's third, but he's 7 behind. 16th to go. Cole Battle, 16th left for the Rebel Stakes win. He's on top from Madaket Road, and Sandman, who's run out of ground. Cole Battle, the story continues, this fantastic story. Cole Battle does it in the Rebel. He is a true, gritty racehorse. Madaket Road was second, Sandman third.
Welcome back to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires. Cole Battle, huge win in the Grade 2 Rebel back on February 23rd. That's one that catapulted him into the Derby picture. He would go on to finish third in the Arkansas Derby, third in the Met win after finishing 11th in the Kentucky Derby. Trainer Lonnie Briley became a media darling. He's such a nice man, and it was so nice to see him have this kind of success. He's hoping that success will continue this afternoon in the Indiana Derby at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Eric Halstrom is the GM and Vice President of Racing at that facility, and he joins me now on HRRN. Eric, good morning.
Good morning. I appreciate you having me here. I'm in the barn area, so you might hear some birds chirping and whatnot, but it's a beautiful, absolutely spectacular day here today, which is a good thing. I'm going to be honest with you, we deserve a little break on the weather. It's rained from about the 1st of April till the end of June, so we're excited for what's going on today.
What a card you've put together. 8 stakes races, including the Grade 3 Indiana Oaks and Grade 3 Indiana Derby. I had a chance to catch up with trainer Bill Morey earlier to talk about locally based Brother Kenny. 12-1 on the morning line. And like he said, hey, we're going to take a shot, but this is one of the strongest Indiana Derbies we've seen in a long time.
This is my 6th, and there's no question that this is the best one, top to bottom. And you look around and you see, horse finishing second in the Arkansas Derby, isn't even third choice or something like that. It's strong and competitive, and I really appreciate everybody participating because they came loaded. I've been watching these horses schooling the last couple of days, and they're such good-looking animals, and we're all excited to have all the connections and that type of horse here.
You start seeing names like Steve Asmussen, Todd Pletcher, Brad Cox lining up in these big races. You're doing something right.
Yeah, feels good. And, Steve and Brad both have stalls here and, spend the whole meet with us, most generally coming up after Oaklawn and whatnot. A lot of those horses filter in here. But, it's great to have, their top-end types. And, they fill out these Grade 3s of ours pretty well. We'd be in trouble with not having them participate, but it's really great to see, that they're in full force. They got plenty of options with these horses this time of year. We're all fighting for space in the graded stakes calendars for everybody, and we don't take it for granted that they chose us here.
First post is 12 o'clock Eastern, 13 races scheduled, and all of those stakes races. Eric, give me an overview of some of the main storylines and some of the things that horse players can expect this afternoon.
Yeah, so you're right. We start at noon. We've got 8 stakes starting with our 5th race. Don't sleep on these 2 Indiana-bred turf races that we've got today. They're full fields, extremely competitive, and most of those horses probably wouldn't fit against graded stakes types, but boy, they get together and they just throw down together, and it's fun, and especially with big fields on the turf. I will tell you that this turf course is very fast right now. We've gotten a ton of rain over, I mentioned at the start, we've taken a lot of rain in the last few months. And what the result is, one of the positives is that we have been off the turf so often that this course is just in impeccable condition. And now we've had a stretch of about a week without the rain, and it's tight and it's really, really fast. So yesterday we saw a couple of horses, get close to the track record in the sprints that we had, and I would expect that today you're going to want to be not too far from the lead, either on the dirt or the turf. That seemed to be the way it was playing yesterday.
Yeah, our man Dale Romans, who is going to be joining us in just a little bit for the final segment of the show. I Asked, They Answer, had that big win with Coppola on the grass yesterday.
Yeah, second year in a row for Coppola, which is really cool. But that's an example. He's obviously very quality, so he doesn't need a certain condition on a turf course to go out and win. But he was another one, went right to the front, and they just weren't going to catch him. But we got a full menu. We've got 3 pick fives on the card today. In fact, we got 2 that will be one all stakes, the ending with the Indiana Derby in the 12th race, and then we've got our normal late pick 5, which will be the last 5 races of the day. And we've got a pick 5 to start the card, and that's all at 11.99%. Those pools are legit. You can bet what you want, knowing that those will all be somewhere in the probably the 200,000 range or more. So they're good betting opportunities here for people who are ready to play.
Yeah, there are a couple of horses in the Indiana Oaks, the race preceding the Indiana Derby, that are going to take plenty of money. You have Cliquot from the barn of Brendan Walsh, and then you have the Brad Cox trainee, Heavenly Sunset. But, neither one of those have to win that race. There are some other really good ones in there.
There is, and those 2 are obviously really nice fillies and would be great representatives to win this race. But, we've got a local here, I'll tell you, by the name of Top, who is really good, and we'll find out what that means. She's stretching out, and there's obviously jumping up in class. But the way she won last time, I did a double take when I was watching, and she's legit. She galloped out the right way, and being close to the lead today is not going to be a problem. You probably want to be somewhere not too far back, at least if they run like they did yesterday. So the local here will give them something that they'll have to handle. They won't walk by her.
That's one of my favorite things in any race, when you have locally based horses at smaller racetracks and the big boys or the big girls come in and they decide, you know what, we're not scared, we're going to take you on, you're coming to our house. And same thing with Brother Kenny in the Indiana Derby. I just love those storylines, Eric, just to see if those horses can find a way to pull it off.
Yeah, I'm with you. And, as somebody who spends 7 straight months of a long meet here with all our locals, and, everybody wants to be racing on this day or, be a part of it. When Top won that last race, I happened to be in the winner's circle just for some random reason. I don't know why, but Michelle Elliott, who's been with us forever, very good horsewoman, and when I talked to her and I said, you got yourself a runner there, and she said, I know, I'm waiting for July 5th, and I said, oh yeah, that is really cool. So it's everybody appreciates it, and not everybody gets a chance locally to take on some of the best in the country, and they're a home racetrack and have a legit shot. So we're all rooting for her in some way today.
Eric, earlier we talked about the strength of the Indiana Derby. Talk about this day in general and how it's progressed and grown. Seems like each and every year it gets better and better.
It really has, and I think in top to bottom, this is the best racing that we've had, at least in the last 6 years. But if you're just going to measure it by wagering, that's a measure of interest in your product and whatnot. We have taken this race from, in 2019, a record handle was set on this day of $4 million of handle, which was great. And the new team that came in 2020 and on, we've grown that to where last year was $8.5 million. And we have goals at some point to break 10 million on this day, and if it's today, that'd be fantastic. If not, we'll just keep getting after it. But there's no question the media that's going to be here. We have 2 NHC contests that we've added this weekend. There are 3 seats given away yesterday, 4 tomorrow, or 4 today. The facility's packed, and it's just really fun. Everybody loves to be at a racetrack when it's alive, and people are playing, and the racing is really good. So I'm proud of the team. They work very, very hard, and they all love the track, and they all love racing. So it's a group. If you don't know them, you can root for them, because they spend a lot of time hoping that this day goes off and there's some good results to it.
It's going to be spectacular. Again, first post 12 o'clock Eastern. That's 11 o'clock Central. Race 1, and then race 13 will wrap it all up after the Indiana Derby. Should be plenty of great betting opportunities, big fields. Make sure you check out Horseshoe Indianapolis this afternoon. Eric, really appreciate the visit as always. Thank you for all of your support of what we do, and we can't be happier to promote Horseshoe Indy each and every year.
I think that, and appreciate it right back to you. You just do an amazing job with what you guys do there, and maybe someday we get you to come sit with us and watch a race or two.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I would love it. Enjoy every moment today, Eric. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
All right, buddy. Eric Halstrom, just that team there, fantastic. And as you heard him say, they love racing. They are dedicated to putting on the best product, and they do it day in and day out. All right, coming up next, I'll take a look at a historical date in racing history or two, and I'll tell you what's ahead in hour number 3. This is the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network.
The 27th Annual Claiming Crown is back at Churchill Downs November 15th, and you can punch your ticket on Claiming Crown Showcase Day, Thursday, August 21st at Colonial Downs, offering automatic entry into the Claiming Crown for the top 2 finishers in each division. In addition, the winner of each dedicated race on Showcase Day will receive a travel stipend up to $2,000, provided they start in the Claiming Crown in November. Don't miss your chance. Claiming Crown Showcase Day at Colonial Downs is Thursday, August 21st.
James Brown and Bill Cowher welcoming you back to Dennis Melvin's house. It's time for the Midnight Snack Run.
This is one tricky obstacle course. Sticking to healthy habits in this kitchen is going to take focus and determination, but it can be done, JB.
He's already entered the snack part of the course, and he's eyeballing a jar of chocolatey candy.
That is tempting right off the start.
Uh-oh, he's reaching, Bill, but he pushes it away.
Great stiff arm.
He's approaching a plate of delicious-looking iced cookies.
Oh, Dennis, you only want one of those.
He blows right by him for the apple.
Oh, the fridge. It's make or break time, JB.
He stares down some rich-looking treats. Uh-oh, looks like he's headed for the soda. Wait, he jukes left, grabs the water bottle, and shuts the door with his elbow in record time.
Unbelievable move. I gotta see that again.
And he's out. He even turned off the light.
That's the way you execute a midnight snack run.
Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer.
Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Did you know? VA home loans are a key to home ownership for those who served.
I would tell anybody who is interested in getting a VA loan to just do it.
For me, the best thing about the VA loan was the simplicity of it. I was expecting, government paperwork, it was going to go on forever, and it just wasn't.
Since the down payment for a VA loan is minimal, we were able to purchase this home and then use the money that we were going to use as a down to actually fix up the home.
And the only way we could do that was because the nest egg that we had saved for the down payment, we didn't have to use because we went the VA route.
This is a wonderful benefit that veterans can take advantage of.
In the military, we make a lot of sacrifices. We're away from our family a lot. And with the VA loan, it's a way that it makes it easier for us to get a home.
To learn more about VA home loans, visit va.gov/home loans.
Hey, this is Bobby Newman. Join me every Friday afternoon to dive deep into handicapping the races. We'll cover the live action from some of the biggest tracks in the country, talk to some of the major players in the game, and hopefully make a little money along the way. You can also call the show to share your opinions, ask a question or two, or maybe just vent about some bad beats. It's Betting with Bobby every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern on Sirius 162, XM 207, online channel 999, or streaming live at horseracingradio.net.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Our poll question this morning asking you, which bet are you making in today's Belmont Oaks Invitational, giving you a prop bet of sorts. Nitrogen, the heavy favorite in that race,
or the field. You can bet everybody else, or you can just stick with the favorite. So far, 74% of HRRN Nation saying, you know what, give us the favorite. We'll take Nitrogen under jockey Jose Ortiz, who you heard from just a short time ago. Fantastic conversation with him. You heard from Todd Pletcher as well. If you want to go back and listen to any of these conversations we've had this morning on the show, you can check out the podcast at horseracingradio.net. 1 hour still to come. You want a historical date? Here you go. Jockey Ray Sabile won his 3,000th race aboard Sporting Surf at Pleasanton on this day, July 5th, 1991. 2 other significant dates took place tomorrow. I'm going to save those for Dale and Tim at the end of the show at 10:30 Eastern. 2 hours down, 1 to go. Stay with me. If your local station is leaving us, you can continue listening to the third hour of the program nationwide on Sirius XM satellite radio. You can do it, too, streaming at horseracingradio.net and on ESPN 680 in Louisville. Hour 3 comes your way next, right after this 10-second pause for station identification. This is the Horse Racing Radio Network, where racing comes to talk.
This is HRRN, horse racing's voice.
And a Fleet Alex comes away with the lead at the 8th pole and kicking in impressively. A Fleet Alex bursting away to lead by 2.5 lengths. Winning Expression is second. Flamenco on the outside third. Then Lunar Pals drop back and they're coming down to the line. And a Fleet Alex very impressive in the Sanford.
And here she comes, and she has bursted to the lead as they move into the final furlong. Outstanding is chasing her home. It's only Acting Dad and Consumer Credit, but they're all not going to get the undefeated Lady Eli. She crushed them. Lady Eli did it again.
Welcome to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires.
Less than a furlong to go, and Looking at Lucky has power to the lead. Looking at Lucky by 2 to the inside, racing in second. The Sky is No Limit and St. Maximus Gatto. It's Looking at Lucky to win the 16th running of the Indiana Derby.
McCormick is still right there. Impressive Edges there too. They all line up. Petrov is there, and Hence from last is closing down the center. Silver Dust, and here comes Hence to the outside, and Hence and Mike Smith go on to win the Iowa Derby.
Now here's Mike Penna.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Equine Forum, rolling on this July 4th weekend. Hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July, and I hope you continue to do so over the course of later today and into tomorrow. Happy to have you along for the ride. Been a busy first 2 hours of the show talking about the Indiana Derby, remembering the late Wayne Lukas with his longtime friend and the man whom he taught, Todd Pletcher. That was a wonderful visit with Todd just a short time ago. I hope you enjoyed it. And looking forward to more conversation coming up here in the third hour of the program. We kick it off as we do every week with the TwinSpires Triple Play. James Scully has 3 races for you to watch later today. Kurt Becker's Stroll Through Racing History comes up at 10:20, and that is another fantastic remembrance of Wayne Lukas. Kurt put a nice stroll through history together, remembering Wayne, looking back on his life and his career. I think you're really going to enjoy that. And then Dale and Tim with I Ask, They Answer. Several topics to get to there. And the draft for our Showdown 4 competition, IV, that begins later today and runs through the Breeders' Cup. All of that still to come, but first we kick it off with James Scully and the TwinSpires Triple Play. James, good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Mike, and it's a beautiful Saturday here in Lexington, Kentucky. It's going to be sunny and hot, but looks like the temperature is going to be good weather as well up at Saratoga, and they're going to have like sunny conditions and in the mid 80s. So it's going to be not too warm up there, and looking forward to a great weekend. I just want to tell everybody that if you're betting the races, check out TwinSpires.com. We have a $200 sign up for new members. We got great offers going on at Saratoga, Ellis, Horseshoe Indy, and other tracks. And then we have live money handicapping contests. We're in the tournament business, have a tournaments tab. Got lots of tournaments going on this weekend. Go to the tournaments tab. You can see the details and schedule at TwinSpires.com.
Yeah, bet all the races you're going to play this weekend and every weekend with TwinSpires. James, let's kick it off. You've selected 3 races. The first comes from Horseshoe Indianapolis on Indiana Derby Day. It is not the Indiana Derby, though. You've chosen race number 5, which is the Indiana General Assembly Distaff Handicap. It carries a purse of $100K. It is for the fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, and they will go 1 mile and a 16th on the turf course. Tell me more about this race.
Yeah, this is a race where I do think that it's pretty competitive field on paper. You've got a 3-1 morning line favorite, and then we've got several horses in the 9-2, 8-1 range, including my top choice in here, which is going to be number 5, Strikingly Spun. This is a 5-year-old mare trained by Joe Sharp, who just won his first spring meet training title at Churchill Downs, edging Brad Cox by 1 win. And Strikingly Spun is a mare, really a mile and a 16 type, and that's what today's distance is. That came back from a freshening last time and ran in the 1.5 mile Kirtana at Churchill Downs. She wound up weakening to 8th in the stretch that day at a distance that's really beyond her scope. But I do think that effort will benefit her a little bit just from not only a fitness standpoint, but really just I like the fact that she showed more speed that afternoon. Strikingly Spun did, up tracking the pace in second. I think sometimes, Mike, she's had a little bit of a tendency to drop too far back, and I think that she's been showing solid tactical speed or some tactical ability in 3 of her last 4 starts, which is a positive sign to me. I really loved her effort 2 starts back at today's distance in the Tom Benson Memorial. That was on the Louisiana Derby undercard at Fairgrounds, and she didn't have the cleanest trip in traffic that day, whereas Way to Be Marie had a perfect journey, like right up the inside to win. Strikingly Spun got beat by a little bit more than a length that day in third. I thought that was a real big effort that was going to set her up for graded races because at that time I thought she was really improving for Joe Sharp. She needed a little bit of time off. He did try her in that Kirtana, like I referenced, just to see if she was a longer distance type. She's not. But I do think that going back to 1 mile and a 16th in a good spot like this, he's not running her over her head. I think we're going to get the absolute best from Strikingly Spun today in race 5, which is the Indiana General Assembly Distaff.
Yeah, 6-1 morning line. How do you play a horse like this, James?
I'm going to bet it to win for sure, and then I'm going to look to key it in both vertical and horizontal type bets. But I'm never afraid if the value's there. I mean, if she's 6-1 or in that range on the board, and I do think that there's another horse in there that has a shot to beat her, I'll play her in the underneath as well. I'm never I like playing exactas. A lot of times I will play, just for example, if it was like if I had $7, I'd bet $5 the way I like, but I would play 5. Like say I was on another runner on here, I'd play a $5 straight exacta with Strikingly Spun on top of another rival, and then I would turn it around for $2. So whether I'm doing that for $2 or $20 or $5 or $50, that's sort of the way I like to play exactas. I definitely will save. Now, if I'm playing a favorite, I'm not going to look to save with the favorites underneath in an exacta. But with when I'm getting value, like I hope I will be with Strikingly Spun, then I'm not averse to turning it around. That's how I'll play it sometimes.
All right, and that's the 5th race later today at Horseshoe Indianapolis, number 5, Strikingly Spun, 6-1 morning line, the top pick for James. Let's move on to your second leg of the triple play you've selected. That is race 7 at Saratoga, 6.5 furlong maiden special weight event on the main track. It is for the fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. The favorite, I guess appropriately enough on this 4th of July weekend,
Number 4, Philly Freedom from the barn of Chad Brown under Flavien Prat. Do you like Philly Freedom, or do we try to beat her?
I'm trying to beat her. And it's a situation where, I took a hard look at that maiden special weight race on the Travers weekend. I'm sorry, on the Belmont Stakes weekend, that special meet they had there. And I didn't think that race came up with this any flashy first time starters. The winner of that race, Ragtime, was 9-1. She's racing in race 4 today, so we will get a little bit of a gauge. But Philly Freedom went off 27-1, and to me, she just rallied belatedly to be second. I didn't think it was like a massive second place effort, and I think she's going to be overbet in this spot. I do think there are some intriguing first time starters. Obviously, this Jins Beach Road has worked well in preparation for Mark Casse. But ultimately, I like number 8, Practical Love, Mike. And I really like her moving back to a fast track. I thought that sloppy track last time. And just given, when she caught that track on June 15th at Aqueduct, that was really a speed favoring oval that day. I mean, the two rivals in front of her, Once Upon a Star, or Upon a Star, Practical Love went off going 8-5, and Upon a Star went off 9-5. They were the two horses in there that everybody was betting in that 9-horse field. And Upon a Star just got the trip on her. She got a favorable front-running trip. The runner-up was up close and made a little run at her at the top of the stretch. And Practical Love made a really good run. I mean, Pratt swung her 8 wide into the stretch. But she was in with a chance. It just came up a little bit short that day. I look back, Mike, this is a filly ran first time out last year at Saratoga. Wasn't ready for her debut. Came back. Mott ran her on turf. But the best race she's run by far came in mid-March at Gulfstream Park. That was a salty little maiden special weight going 6 furlongs on March 16th at Gulfstream Park. And Practical Love ran a huge race to be second. Not only that, she showed really good speed that day on the fast track. That Dry Powder who beat her, she just ran ahead second in the Wilton Stakes. That's a stakes filly. That was a good field. Had some good runners in it besides the top 2. And she likes sprinting on fast tracks. She got real good numbers for that effort, Practical Love did. I think if she runs back to that race, she'll be tough to beat. And I expect her to be even more formidable off of that, her first race on dirt this year, but she still is yet to catch a fast track. First start off, it was on her last 2 starts have been turf and on sloppy tracks. I look forward to getting back to a fast track today, and I like number 8, Practical Love, in the 7th race at Saratoga.
All right, let's move on to the final leg. That is race 11. It is the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks Invitational, mile and an eighth on the turf. Who wins this one?
Nitrogen is 4-5. This is a situation where we saw on Friday Zulu Kingdom, Grade 1 winner. He could have gone to the mile and an eighth Belmont Derby, but they cut him back to Grade 3, $200,000 Manila. Instead of cutting Nitrogen back in distance, Mark Casse is going to try her at 9 furlongs in here, but I have some concerns. I just thought she was really keyed up last time. She was fortunate that her stablemate went out and set the pace before she just quit, gave way right away on the far turn. And I see, first off, there's some speed in here. I think Opulent, Restraint, and even Totally Justified will be prominent. I also think that she's facing the toughest field by far she's ever faced at a distance she's never run at, and that makes me think that she's potentially vulnerable in it here. And the final reason I'm picking against Nitrogen is that I have a real strong opinion on number 5, Sion, for Brad Cox. This is a filly who I thought was very impressive, breaking her maiden, reeling off an entry-level allowance win, and then winning a listed stake at Fairgrounds earlier this year. Off of those 3 races, though, she stepped up into the Grade 2 Appellation, and not only did she take on Nitrogen, but she took on a bunch of other stakes-tested veterans. And I thought she ran well. She wasn't ready for prime time in a sense, Mike. But she ran well to be third that day. She really moved forward off of that effort and the regret last time. That was a gutsy win. I thought Totally Justified, who's in this field, is in with a chance as well. She's sitting on a big effort and will play a key role for Fionn because Fionn needs some pace in this race. I expect her to get a good setup and to finish strongly with Flavia and Pratt. Like I said, I think that she's poised for her best effort for Brad Cox, and she's progressing nicely at the right time of the year. So I'm going to give the edge in the Belmont Oaks to I like number 5, Fionn, in the Belmont Oaks. And, she's really going to offer some value from a win perspective. I think Practical Love, we'll see how the betting goes in that. That's the main special weight, and sometimes it's hard for me to predict. But I do think that I have at least a couple plays today, Mike, that are going to offer square value for not only win bets, but for anybody who likes to play multi-race or vertical exotics.
Yeah, no chalk on the face of James Scully today, taking a swing in each of the 3 races he's chosen for you on this week's TwinSpires Triple Play. James, let's recap really quick before we let you go. Horseshoe Indy, race number 5. You'll go with number 5, Strikingly Spun at 6-1. Race 7 at Saratoga, you'll take number 8, Practical Love at 8-1. And race 11 at Saratoga, number 5, Fionn at odds of 5-1. Looking for a little upset in there over Nitrogen, who is expected to be the heavy favorite. James, I appreciate it. We're going to encourage everybody to bet each of those races at TwinSpires this weekend and every weekend.
Thanks so much, Mike. You have a great rest of your weekend, and look forward to talking to you in the future.
Yeah, you too. James Scully, TwinSpires Triple Play. Coming up next, Kurt Becker remembers the late Hall of Famer and legend D. Wayne Lukas with this week's Stroll Through Racing History. And still to come, Dale and Tim with I Ask, They Answer, and our draft for our Showdown 4 competition. Stay tuned for that. Also, the answer to our impossible trivia question this week. And if you missed it in the first 2 hours, I'll give it to you one more time. What horse was Pat Day riding when he became the 6th jockey in history to win $100 million? How about that one? That's a good one from our producer, Lee Delapina. The answer comes your way at 10:55 Eastern. Stay tuned. Plenty more to get to here on the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Colonial Downs summer racing season is here, beginning Wednesday, July 9th, with racing 4 days a week. Afternoon racing on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, and a twilight post of 4 p.m. Eastern every Friday. Back is our popular 12% takeout pick 5 offered twice daily. Join us for our biggest days of the season, August 9th at noon for Colonial Downs Festival of Racing, which features the Arlington Million, and then September 6th, the Grade 3 Old Dominion Derby. Colonial Downs, the race is just the start.
Scott Mallory is offering a trio of exciting prospects at the Fasig-Tipton July sale of selected yearlings on July 8th. Hip 11 out of a young Blame mare by freshman sire Mo Donegal, a son of super sire Uncle Mo. Hip 55 out of a winner-producing Animal Kingdom mare by Grade 1 winning freshman sire Drain the Clock, whose weanlings averaged 5 times the stud fee. And Hip 89 out of a multiple stakes winning mare by exciting multiple Grade 1 winning freshman sire Cyberknife, who set a new track record in the Haskell. Visit the Scott Mallory consignment in Barn 8 at Fasig-Tipton July.
Live racing for the 25-day Ellis Park meeting begins Thursday, July 3rd and runs through Saturday, August 24th, with a record $4 million in stakes purses led by 7 stakes across Kentucky Downs Preview Weekend on August 2nd and 3rd, and 6 stakes on Sunday, August 10th, featuring the $300,000 Ellis Park Derby and the $200,000 Groupie Doll. Connections with Kentucky-bred horses will be competing for $100,000 maiden special weight purses and allowances up to $108,000. And horse players will have plenty of action throughout the summer. For a full list of events, visit EllisParkOwensboroGaming.com.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Hello, I'm Kurt Becker. Thanks for joining me as I take another stroll through racing history presented by Keeneland. He was a Wisconsin native and basketball coach who rose to prominence as a racehorse trainer, first in the quarter horse industry and later as a conditioner of thoroughbreds. And he died last Saturday at the age of 89. His name was Darrell Wayne Lukas. Born on September 2nd, 1935, D. Wayne Lukas grew up in Antigo, Wisconsin, where it was said he spent his time dribbling a basketball and dreaming of horses. As for his days as a basketball player, Lukas said that at 6 feet 2 inches tall, he was too small for the front line and too slow for the back line. Earning a master's degree in education from the University of Wisconsin, Lukas became a teacher and high school basketball coach in his home state. But he found that he didn't care for teaching because, in his words, you got paid the same as the next guy, regardless of talent, and there was no fun in that. As for basketball, Lukas said the problem was that there were only 2 games a week. He hated practice and said he would rather have played an 80-game schedule. Yes, his competitive nature was evident even then. After 9 years as a prep basketball coach and 2 years as a member of the coaching staff at his alma mater in Madison, Lukas decided to pursue his dream of becoming a racehorse trainer. He went west and eventually landed in California. Lukas had a hand in developing nearly 24 champions in the quarter horse business, and his stable posted earnings of $1 million or more in 7 consecutive seasons. But by the end of 1977, Lukas was looking for a new challenge, and he found it in the thoroughbred industry. What Lukas saw in thoroughbred racing was not just a challenge, but a new set of challenges. There was dirt, there was turf, there were different distances, different kinds of races. There was also stamina, mental prowess, and the temperament of the thoroughbred. But as one turf rider put it at the time, Lukas refused to follow the rules and rituals of training thoroughbreds which had been chiseled in marble and accepted as gospel. He was a non-traditional trainer in a sport known for convention. When Lukas won his first $100,000 race just 6 months after becoming a full-time thoroughbred trainer, the racing community didn't know what to make of his theories. When he won another $100,000 5 days later with the same horse, they still didn't know what to think. But they knew one thing was certain: his theories were working. Those wins came with Effervescing, a 5-year-old horse which won the $100,000 American Handicap on the turf at Hollywood Park on July 4th, 1978, before returning to the same track on July 9th to win the $100,000 Citation Handicap on the dirt. Later that month, Lukas would send 2-year-old filly Terlingua to the post to win the $100,000 Hollywood Lassie in stakes record time before running her back 1 week later against males to win the Hollywood Juvenile Championship. She missed the stakes record in the latter by 1/5 of a second. One sports writer joked that perhaps Lukas's theories on training thoroughbreds had something to do with witchcraft. But the same columnist writing for the Los Angeles Times went to dinner with Lukas and described him as so fascinating that an hour could go by before anyone picked up a menu. Lukas's barn was a showcase, with staff members constantly raking aisles and watering flower beds. When his horses came to the paddock, they looked so good that even his fellow trainers often envied him. In 1980, when Lukas burst onto the national scene by winning the Preakness Stakes with Codex, his methods once again perplexed longtime observers of the game. For example, Codex entered the race off a 34-day layoff. Lukas didn't ship from California to Baltimore until 4 days before the race, and he refused to work the horse beyond a distance of 5 furlongs, all of which were considered unconventional for the time period. "I did the same thing before his wins in the Santa Anita Derby and the Hollywood Derby," said Lukas. He's won $320,000 off those 5 furlong works, so I'm not planning to change my pattern. "I didn't know the demands of the Preakness," Lukas continued, "but I know my horse, and he's Pete Rose in the bottom of the 9th. He's Roger Staubach in the final 2 minutes. He digs in, and he won't spit the bit." Lukas would eventually train the winners of 15 Triple Crown races, including a victory in the Preakness last year at the age of 88. He would also train the winners of 20 Breeders' Cup races in his Hall of Fame career. The trophies, honors, awards, and achievements from nearly 50 years as a thoroughbred trainer are staggering. But early in his career, Lukas made clear that he did not want his epitaph to be written someday in numbers and statistics. In an interview in March of 1979, Lukas said, quote, "When people sit down over coffee 30 years from now and talk about who won the most stakes races, I don't want to be the answer to a trivia question. I just want people to respect me. I want them to say that I was a good horseman." End quote. Please join me again next week when I take another stroll through racing history presented by Keeneland. For HRRN, I'm Kurt Becker.
And once again, my thanks to Kurt and to Keeneland for making those segments possible each and every week. If you have missed any of Kurt's Stroll Through Racing History segments, all you have to do is head back over to our website, horseracingradio.net. You can check out the special podcast page dedicated to those stories and listen to every single one. There have been some amazing ones. Go back and listen at horseracingradio.net. When I come back, Dale Romans, Tim Wilkin, they will be here. It is this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer. This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Monmouth Park's summer season rolls on with live racing action starting at 12:50 every weekend. Monmouth's 2025 season featured increased total handle for the fourth straight year. The biggest pools means bigger payoffs. New for 2025, Monmouth introduces a 50-cent middle pick 5, joining the win early pick 5 on the wagering menu. With the stakes race every Saturday and Sunday, Monmouth Park is your summer place to profit. Attending on site, lock in your odds with fixed odds wagering at Monmouth Park Racetrack.
His sire is one of the most exciting young stallions in the world. His dam has become one of the most important broodmares in the industry. And on the first Saturday in May, his genetic brilliance shined brightest on racing's biggest stage.
They come into the final 16, and it is going to be Mage to win the Kentucky Derby.
Mage, standing at Airdrie Stud. Think about it.
This is I Ask, They Answer on the Equine Forum on HRRN.
They're coming for the head of the stretch, affirmed the leader by a head. Ali Dare makes a quick move to the outside, moves alongside the lead. Then it's Roman Prince along the inside, Wood Native driving through. Then further back, Going Investor. They're in the stretch. Ali Dare on the outside, now the leader by a half. Affirmed second by 3 lengths. Then Going Investor moving into third on the outside. Through the stretch, Ali Dare is now opening out the lead to 4 lengths. Affirmed and Going Investor.
You got to love those vintage race calls. Tomorrow marks the 48-year anniversary of Ali Dare defeating Affirmed in the second of their 10 meetings in what may be the greatest rivalry in the history of the sport. If Dale and Tim were drafting a 5-horse fantasy team of all-time greats, which 5 make the cut? And what potential impact might Fasig-Tipton's recent decision have on the future of our industry? Plus, more impressive than last weekend's Stephen Foster, Mindframe, or Sierra Leone? All of that and much, much more is straight ahead on this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer with trainer Dale Romans and turf writer Tim Wilkin. All presented by the University of Louisville Equine Industry Program and the College of Business, and all starting just 30 seconds from right now.
A spark turns into a dream, and your dreams fuel a love that will last a lifetime. Turn your passion into a career with experienced guidance, a thorough study of equine business, as well as opportunities to get your hands dirty and put your mind to work. Located in the heart of horse country, Let your passion fuel your profession at the U of L Equine Industry Program. Apply today.
All right, this is a show, as we promised you over the past couple of weeks, where we are going to kick off our Showdown 4 competition. The fourth one that we have done. We do it every year. Tim took the first one. Dale took the next two. I have yet to win, but I only participated in one. I'm back in this year, too. We will do our draft at the end of I Ask, They Answer here this morning. But, guys, before we do that, we have some topics to get to. And the first one involves Fasig-Tipton, because for the second consecutive week, they have given us a topic for the show. This time it involves their upcoming Mid-Atlantic 2-year-old training sale, where Fasig will eliminate timed workouts and restrict crop use. All undertax show performances will be untimed, and Fasig-Tipton will not officially clock any breezes. Riders will be able to carry a crop for safety, but they are not allowed to strike the horses during the workouts. Dale, your thoughts and what impact might this have on the industry going forward?
We should have been doing this a long time ago. I hope OBS listens. I've been asking them a long time with a lot of other people. Just take the poles out, let them go down the lane, see how they move. That's all you need to do. They don't need to go 9 and change, gallop out in 45 and change. All they need to do is go nice and easy, let everybody see how they move. And the impact is it's going to get some of those 2-year-olds to the races quicker.
Tim, what do you think?
Well, obviously, I'm not ever been in a position to go to a sale and buy a horse, but being the untrained eye and looking at it from my perspective, I mean, doesn't this give you, the buyer, a better chance to look for more confirmation and pedigree, the way a horse strides or walks? And, I mean, when you look at the time stuff, remember years back when the much-heralded Green Monkey, who sold for a reported record $16 million, he breezed a furlong in 9.88 seconds, and he was supposed to be the second coming of Pegasus, and obviously that never happened. But I just think that when they do put up the times, are buyers looking at a horse that might go a tick faster than another one? I think this is a better idea where you can show off the athleticism of a horse, bet more so than just look at what's on the stopwatch.
It should have been done a long time ago.
Dale, do you think this eventually changes the type of horse that consigners might look to bring to a 2-year-old in training sale?
It absolutely might. You're not going to go look for that little fast speed demon. I mean, listen, the game's all about speed, and speed's good, but they don't run eighth-of-a-mile races. You can learn all you need to watching a horse move down the lane if you're a good horseman, and it'll make it easier for the best horsemen to buy the best horses. I haven't done much business in 2-year-old sales in the last 5 or 6 years. It may put me right back in there, but I hope OBS follows the lead of Fasig.
You said that this would help get 2-year-olds to the races earlier. How come?
What's that?
You said this would help get 2-year-olds to the races sooner. How come?
Because you're going to get sound horses out of these sales. They're not going to be all just revved up horses ready to go at eighth of a mile. I mean, you could just fast gallop down through there a quarter of a mile, let everybody see how they move. And it's not only the fact that they go 9-4 the one time at the sale. It's what these consigners have to put them through to get them to the point where they can go 9-4 that one time. It's not the first time they've gone fast eights when they show up at the sale. They just didn't all of a sudden learn how to go that fast, and that's the fastest they'll ever go in their life, and they'll never go that fast again. Why do you need to do it to them when they're that young just to get them sold?
Yeah.
No, it's really interesting. How about the prices that we're going to see, Dale? What would you expect there? Because it seems like, well, it is a truism that every time a horse works a really fast number, they tend to sell for a big number too. How might that affect the sales that we're going to see?
The same money will be there. The same horses will get identified by the good horsemen that are watching, and you won't see anything. If anything, you might see it tick up because there's more confidence that you're going to get your horse, a good sound horse, to the races.
Dale, is it when you go look at when you have a horse that goes a real fast furlong, is it almost sometimes maybe you throw caution to the wind on that?
What, you mean to buying it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a safety net, good feel for everybody. You know you're already getting one that's fast. Now you got to do is keep him sound and get him to stretch. Those are big bridges to cross.
Right, that's what I mean.
That fast. And believe me, if you're a good horseman, you go to a sale and you'll be able to identify the best horses just by how they move down through the lane, how they go around there, how they come back, and you won't have to stress them so much to get them. So you'll put me on my soapbox. I've been preaching about this for a long time. And it was a great move. I tip my hat to Fasig-Tipton. And just, OBS, if you're listening, get those poles off your track.
Yep, kudos to Fasig. Well done. I think the industry in large has really supported this, and it should be a wonderful move for the sport going forward. Guys, let's say hello to Nick Zito for our next segment. You get to tell me if the following statements are right or wrong.
Yeah, right or wrong. Am I right? What do you think? Right or wrong?
All right, Nikki, let's find out. 2 topics for you here this morning, guys. After her dominant 3-length win in last Saturday's Fleur-de-Lis, Torpedo Anna is once again the horse to beat in the Distaff division. Right or wrong?
What do you think? Right or wrong?
Tim, what do you think?
I think Nikki is right on this one. You know that in the race before in the La Triomphe, she was really mugged going into that first turn. She was hit and bounced around like a ping pong ball, lost her breath. I mean, it was. I'm not saying that. Maybe I'm saying. Maybe it looked like they were ganging up on her to try to get her beat, and they did. And that wasn't her. And she bounced back in a big way. And I talked to Kenny just the other day. And he thinks that, she's still as good as she ever was. And he's got a plan for her to run in the Person Lentz in Saratoga next month, and then in the Spinster at Keeneland. And if all goes well there, he's going to toy with the idea of going in the Classic. So, I know Kenny's always been very, very confident in Torpedo Anna. And I don't think he's lost any of that confidence, and especially probably got more of it now that she had that performance, which she should have done what she did in the Fleur-de-Lis. But I just think that the people that were thinking that she was finished after that race before were sadly wrong. And I think she's going to be the major player in that division the rest of the year.
I plead the fifth because I don't want to show my hand when our draft starts here in a few minutes.
You just did show your hand.
Ooh. I do get first pick since I won last year. So
No. It's a draw.
No, it's not. It's not. I don't trust it at all. The winner gets first pick. That should be something that goes along with the trophy.
I didn't get first pick when I won it.
The rules changed after that. She's definitely leader of the division. I was glad to see her bounce back because I thought if she didn't run the way she did, she was in trouble for the rest of the year. But she's back.
All right, how about Mind Frame, guys? How about Mind Frame? Paired up back-to-back Grade 1 wins after defeating defending Breeders' Cup Classic winner Sierra Leone and last weekend Stephen Foster. As good as Mind Frame was, Sierra Leone's effort should probably be looked at as the more impressive after his slow beginning. Is that right or wrong?
What do you think? Right or wrong?
Dale, am I right?
Wrong. Wrong. Mind Frame ran a hell of a race. He's the best horse out there right now, in my opinion. He could be undefeated if he had run straight in his other 2 races, the 2 races that he ran second. If he had just stayed focused and run to the wire, he was going to win those 2 races, and I was impressed with him the other day. Sierra Leone ran a fine race, take nothing away from him. He's a horse that doesn't like to win a lot. And, going off a short price like he did, it's just hard to bet on him. He always runs well, but he doesn't seem to get there every time.
You talk about Mind Frame. I mean, he's 3 for 3 this year, and he's won at 7 furlongs. He's won a mile, now he's won the mile and 8. 2 of them were Grade 1s. I mean, Todd Pletcher, who, a lot of times will take the conservative approach. He's called this horse a generational talent, which for Todd to say that, you got to stand up and take notice. I mean, this horse, who knows what the ceiling is for him. He was ultra impressive when he won the Foster, and against a field that a lot of people thought was the best older horse field that we've seen so far this year. Sierra Leone, obviously, he needs a pace to run at. You know, the fact that he did finish well, but he always seems to finish well. He does, like Dale said, he doesn't always get there. He's a horse you have to use because in 11 career starts, he's never been off the board. But I think if you compare, if you say take Mindframe or Sierra Leone, you got to take Mindframe right now. But then remember, last year's Breeders' Cup Classic, Sierra Leone did win that. He won on the biggest day. But I'm still would take Mindframe.
He went on the biggest day. Derby's the biggest day. He won on the second biggest. Don't take anything away from the Kentucky Derby.
All right.
Yeah, come on, Timmy. You got to get that one right on this show with Dale.
Come on. Something about Kentucky Derby.
All right, well, how about this one other topic before we get to our Showdown 4 fantasy draft? Again, that comes up here in just a minute. Just moments away from that draft, but this weekend marks a couple of iconic anniversaries in racing, which leads us perfectly into this next topic. It was July 6, 1975, tomorrow, the anniversary of Ruffian engaging Kentucky Derby winner Foolish Pleasure in that match race. We know that resulted in Ruffian being injured and eventually being unable to be saved. And then July 6, 1977, 2 years later, in the second of their 10 meetings, Ali Dar defeated Affirmed to win the Great American Stakes at Belmont Park. So, guys, it got me thinking, if we were drafting a team of all-time greats here this morning as opposed to modern-day runners, which we will do momentarily, which horses would you have in your starting five if you were doing a list of all-time greats? Tim, what do you think?
Are we going to go 1, 1, 1, 1, or are we doing 5 at once?
No, just give me your top five. Who would be your starting lineup?
Well, obviously, Secretariat, you got to take him for obvious reasons.
Right.
I would take Spectacular Bid, 126 of 30 starts. I would take him. I mean, go back to yesteryear. I mean, Kelso carried 130 pounds or more 24 times and won 13 of them. I'd put him in mine. Boy, this is hard. I think I'd put Citation in mine. Triple Crown winner of, what was it, 1948, was it? Something like that. In the 40s, but I put him fourth. And I think I would put the Great Cigar in there. 2-time Horse of the Year, won 19 to 33. You're going to leave a whole bunch of real good ones out, but those will be my five.
Okay, that's good five. Good five. You know, it's hard to ever talk about different generations, but if you're going to talk about greatest of all time, what about Man of War? We're going to go all the way back to I'd say Man of War, Secretariat, Citation, Forgo.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going to throw in there is Rachel Alexander.
Right. Ooh. That's another one.
Yeah. Then I take LeBron James, Shaq, Kobe. Might put Allen Iverson at point guard.
No Jordan, huh?
Yeah, Jordan is my fifth. You didn't let me finish.
No, I thought you were going to go. You need a four. You need a four. You got to put Larry Bird in there.
He'd come off the bench. He used to be best sixth man that year.
But I mean,
I love it.
Some of the we didn't even mention like Personal Ensign and
John Henry,
Zenyatta.
Yeah.
Holy Bull. Holy Bull. Timmy, you would have never heard a cigar if Holy Bull stayed healthy. So.
Well, I know you're a Holy Bull, the president of his fan club.
Holy Bull's a good horse, but you ain't cracked.
Holy Bull's a very good horse.
Mm-hmm. Best thing Holy Bull did was get you in the game.
No, that was Easy Goer.
Oh, Easy Goer brought you around. He's a good one too. You know, we didn't. It's got a lot of Triple Crown winners we left off there.
I mean, you can't go wrong with any five you pick, really.
Right.
No.
An American Pharaoh doesn't get a sniff.
Right, and you know.
I thought about him, but if you can't win the Travers, you can't make it on my list.
I love it. I love it. All right, well, here we go, guys. This is the moment of the show everybody's been waiting for here this morning. I've been teasing it for 2 weeks. It is time for our draft for the Showdown 4 competition. And if folks didn't catch the beginning of the show, let's recap. Tim takes the Showdown 1, our inaugural edition. Dale comes back and gets his revenge in the Showdown 2. He wins again in the Showdown 3. And now here we are in the Showdown 4. And we'll see if Timmy can turn the tables, or maybe I can get my name into the win column here today. Dale is going to be Team Victory. Dale, you're not changing your name, right?
No, why do that?
Correct. Tim is Team Lost.
Clear. Timmy won the first year. That was back when I drank.
Nobody's beating a sober Dale.
Right.
Lost in the Fog is Tim's team, and I will be Team Mush. And yes, indeed, just like we did last year, even though Dale is the two-time defending champion, it's a blind draw that Lee Delapina, our producer, will do in the studio to pick the draft order. So, Lee, why don't you kick us off, my friend?
All right, Mike. Let me reach into my old chapeau.
Do the right thing, Lee.
Okay.
In the mail, Lee.
Guys, please don't kill me. No, first pick goes to Dale.
Oh man! Just like last year, the fix is in.
There's a 1 in 3 chance. What? There's nothing I can do about it.
Dale must have mailed you a check.
In the mail, Lee. Good job.
Number 2 is Tim.
Okay.
Lee, you're fired. All right.
Well, you get back-to-back picks on the turn, Mike.
That's right. All right. Well, Dale, you get to kick us off, my friend. And the way this works, we're going to draft our first 5 horses, which are our starting lineup. Then we will select 2 alternate horses, which only get in the game if one of your initial 5 goes to the sidelines for some reason. Your horses earn points when they compete in any race. It doesn't matter which race. If they finish first, they get 10 points. If they finish second in that race, they are awarded 7 points. And if they finish third, they are awarded 5 points. So, Dale, why don't you kick us off? Who's your number 1 pick in the Showdown 4 fantasy draft?
She did it for me last year. She'll do it again. I'm banking on Kenny, who gets wised up by November, runs her against the fillies. Torpedo Anna.
Your number 1 pick.
Tim, you're
number
next.
1 pick off the board, Torpedo Anna.
I am going to go with Mind Frame. Was on my team last year and ended up getting hurt. So
right,
I'm giving Mind Frame another chance. Thinks he's the best horse in the country.
All right. Well, then why don't you go ahead and give me how about give me Fierceness. Why not? I'll take Fierceness.
Fierceness?
Yeah, why not? I'll take Fierceness, and I'll come back and take, because I get a pick coming back. How about Copion?
Okay.
Tim, back to you.
Me?
Yeah.
I am going to take Sovereignty.
Who?
Sovereignty, the Kentucky Derby winner, and the Belmont Stakes
Belmont winner. Yeah, good pick.
All right, so it's back to me. I'm going against your heads up and take probably a surprise pick for you all, Journalism.
Okay.
No, that's a good call.
Breeders' Cup Mile winner.
That's a good call. You get another one, Dale.
Oh, it starts over again. I get another one. I'm going to pick another one y'all don't know or probably don't like. Iron Orchard.
Who?
Iron, I think I'm getting her name right. Iron Orchard. Danny Gargan, 2-year-old maiden first-time winner at Saratoga.
Just won the other day, right?
Yes.
Oh, then yes.
If he puts her in New York bred races coming up, talking about strictly wins, he'll dominate the New York bred filly 2-year-old division.
Okay.
All right, Timmy, you're next.
All right. I'm going to go with, I have to have a Baffert horse, so I'm taking Nisos.
Oh, man. I was going to pick Baffert there, Timmy. Can you wait?
Too bad.
Too bad. All right, well, I'll take, let me go to the ladies here. How about She Feels Pretty?
That's a good pick.
Yeah, I'll take her in that spot. I'll take her. And then I need another one, right? So how about Spirit of St. Louis?
Mm-hmm.
I think he rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
You're next, Timmy.
Oh, I'm back up?
Yeah.
3-year-old fillies. I'm going to go with a rebounding Good Cheer.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, I'm going to go 3-year-old fillies too. What's her name? Nitrogen?
Yep.
Give me Nitrogen.
Running later today. Dale can get on the board real quick.
Yep.
Dale, you get one more.
And that'll finish me off, right?
At least for your initial 5. Then you get 2 alternates. 2-time defending champ. We got to explain the rules to him every year.
I want to give me Patch Adams. Let's see how he keeps sprinting.
Okay.
Tim?
Okay. Give me Raging Torrent.
Ooh. Raging Torrent. All right. So then I will go with... I'll go with Ways and Means.
Mm-hmm.
Ways and Means. And as my alternate, my first alternate, I will take White Abario. And Sappy I Trust. You're up, Timmy.
I will, for my first alternate, I'm going to take Baeza.
Dale questions that decision.
No, it was actually one I was going to use.
Oh, all right. Dale, your 2 alternates, they come in order.
Deterministic and Bobrovsky.
I love it. Name for the champion goalie.
2-year-old.
Dale's got some inside information there, Timmy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes he has to try to get
a Stanley Cup. He can win me this race, this competition.
Well, he's going to start on the bench, but that's all right, right?
Right.
Tim, who you got?
I'm up.
Last pick.
My last pick, I'm going to take Locked. That actually ran the Suburban as we're taping this, so we don't know how he did that, but I don't get that one. Wait, can I change that one?
Dale, that's up to you. You're the defending champ. Do we allow him to change his pick?
Yeah, let him go, because he'll probably just put him right in the winner's circle by changing his pick. Never change your ticket, Jimmy.
All right, I'm keeping it Locked.
All right, Locked. And again, we are recording this on Friday, so we do not know how Locked did on Saturday or on Friday afternoon, but that's okay. Timmy will not get those points. We'll get all the points for Locked going forward, but he's on his AE list anyway. So, Tim, I get one more. How about give me the champ? How about Immersive?
Okay.
A little bit of upside there with the juvenile champion, Philly. All right, that's our teams. We're going to have those posted on our website later today, horseracingradio.net, so you can go back and check out and let us know which team you think has the best opportunity to take down the showdown for this year. Again, Dale, the 2-time defending champion, looking to pull off the Triple Crown, and he's got a pretty solid shot to do it with that team that he's assembled. But, Timmy, we're not going to let him get it done, are we?
Nah, he's like the Ken Jennings of Jeopardy, and we're going to try to take him down.
Good luck, boys.
I love it. We're down to the final 2 minutes of the show. We timed it out pretty well. Tim, your final point of the week, my friend.
So I've been sitting up here at Saratoga all week for the 4th of July festival. They've had great weather, good racing. You know, they've the precursor to the actual meet that starts next Thursday. I think Nairo did a pretty good job of bringing it up here. Because if this was down at Belmont Park, at Aqueduct, you could roll a bowling ball down through the clubhouse and not hit anybody. So good job bringing it up here. It'll be here next year, then it'll be back at Belmont. Good job, Nairo.
Yes, I'm up here with Tim. It's good to see Tim back at Saratoga, get things kicked off. Next year we'll be coming here right after the Preakness, straight through, as much as they keep stretching out. But it's good to be here. Good to see Tim in the mornings. And sorry I was late for taping, guys. Don't tell anybody I was sleeping.
Won't say a word. Your secret's safe with me.
No.
That's
a bad omen, Timmy. We woke up the sleeping giant.
No, good luck to both you guys. Good luck to both you guys in the race for second place, okay?
Yeah. All right,
Bye,
guys.
Tim.
Next week.
We'll do it all over again next week, guys. Appreciate it. Good luck with the draft. Good luck with all the horses you're going to be playing this weekend and with the horses Dale has running at Indiana and at Saratoga. If you have a topic you would like to hear Dale and Tim discuss, email them to us, Mike at horseracingradio.net. We'll get them worked in for you. I Ask They Answer is presented every week by the University of Louisville Equine Industry Program of the College of Business. I'm back with the answer to this week's impossible trivia question next. This is the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network, where racing comes to talk.
All over America, people are taking the National Radon Test. Have you? Excuse me, have you heard of radon?
Is that a gas?
Is it something that comes up out the ground or something?
It's like poison gas. Something dangerous that you're supposed to check on to make sure it's not in your home.
Now it's your turn. Answer true or false. Radon is a radioactive gas. True, radon is a radioactive gas. True or false? The Office of the Surgeon General recommends that all homes be tested for radon. True, your home should be tested.
I didn't know that, no.
True or false, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. True.
True, I didn't know that.
Radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. Answer true or false. Homes with radon problems can be fixed. True. Homes with radon problems can be fixed.
So what do you do about it? I'm going to dial the number and call.
1-800-SOS-RADON.
If I don't take care of it, nobody else will.
Keep your family safe from radon. Call now.
1-800-SOS-RADON. Kids, they're just different than us. They have no inhibitions, consider silverware optional, and can find fun anywhere. And when kids get really sick, they're different than us too. Until now, children diagnosed with blood cancer have been treated like many adults. Not anymore. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society proudly introduces the Dare to Dream Project, transforming treatment and care through advocacy, education, and the largest global clinical trial for kids with blood cancer. For the first time, a specific treatment can be matched to a specific type of cancer in a specific child. It'll be the biggest medical advancement for little patients in history. Dare to dream with us. Support the Dare to Dream Project and all the work that the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society does at LLS.org.
Check out the all-new horseracingradio.net. All the same great horse racing radio content in a new, easy-to-use design. Listen to all of our shows streaming live or access the replays anytime. See our schedule, sign up for our newsletter, download our latest podcasts, and so much more. It's all on our website at horseracingradio.net. That's horseracingradio.net. You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Well, be sure to check out the July cover of the new Blood Horse, which is out now. Sovereignty reigns over journalism in the Belmont Stakes. Also featuring the star appeal of Torpedo Anna, the rave reviews from horsemen on Darley Stallion Nyquist, and a look back at Patrice Wilson, Harborview Farm, and Affirmed. All of that out right now. You can become a subscriber for as little as $59 or purchase a single issue at bloodhorse.com. Again, our teams for the Showdown 4 competition are going to be posted on our website, horseracingradio.net, shortly, so you can let us know who you feel has the best opportunity to take down the title and dethrone Dale Romans. Well, maybe you think it's Dale Romans that's going to pull off the Triple Crown. I don't know. You can take a look at the teams, send us a note on social media, or email the show to let us know.
Time now to check in with our producer, Lee Delapina, for the answer to this week's impossible trivia question.
Thank you, Mike. What horse was Pat Day riding when he became the 6th jockey in history to win $100 million? That was Wild Sierra. He finished his career with over $297 million in winnings.
Wow, if you got that one, kudos to you. That truly was an impossible trivia question. I had no idea, so I was playing along with you, and no clue until Lee just gave us the answer. We'll have another impossible trivia question for you next Saturday morning here on the Equine Forum. My thanks to all of our guests who made this show possible this morning, including that wonderful visit with Hall of Fame trainer Todd Pletcher, remembering his friend, his longtime mentor, Hall of Famer Dwayne Lukas. Told some great stories there. You won't want to miss it. It's our featured interview of the week. You can go back and check it out on our social media pages and our YouTube pages. Really good stuff from Todd Pletcher. My thanks to Dale and Tim in the previous segment, Kurt Becker for his Stroll Through Racing History, remembering the coach, Dwayne Lukas, to James Scully for the TwinSpires Triple Play, and to all of you for tuning in on this Saturday morning. I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Thanks to our producer, Lee Delapina, in our Lexington studios, to Chauncey for handling all of our social media. I'm Mike Penna. We'll talk to you next week here on the Equine Forum. Go Steelers.